And I believe I'm back live. All right, everybody, I am live. So, those of you who were here yesterday, I was live for 4 hours, more than 4 hours. And then some trolls came in. And as soon as I was talking to people and the trolls that came in, somebody reported me as misinformation. So last night, after I got booted off there, I appealed to TikTok and said it's not what they were saying. There is no misinformation in what I was saying, and they reviewed my case, and I'm back. Okay, so and then I reported the troll. So I just thought I would let you guys know that, right? So I'm back. And just in case TikTok is watching me and waiting for me to say something wrong, everything that I'm going to talk about tonight is for entertainment purposes only. Remember that, TikTok. Remember that, trolls. Everything that I'm talking about is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so share this out. I am back. I am live and I am back. Okay, so I was here last night and I was answering questions for you. I am channeling Archangel Samael. And a few people were saying, Samael's not the archangel, he's just a fallen angel. Really? Because Samael's not even listed in the Hebrew Bible or the Christian Bible. He's only listed in the Bibles that were not edited, and he is an archangel, weirdly. Right? So if you guys have questions, ask questions, because I am channeling Samael. Last night he was being very raw and very blunt and giving real answers. If you were here last night, you know that. You know that he was giving truth. He was talking truth and giving people information, right? So share this out. Ask me questions. Ask me questions. I will give you answers. Or as I said last night, ask me questions and I will tell you no lies. There's Mama. Welcome, Mama. Mama Leah and my wife Brooke is in the audience. Welcome. Share this out. Share this out. Share this out. I am back because I applied to TikTok and said I was not in misinformation. There was no misinformation. Or conspiracy theories in anything that I was talking about on my show, and they agreed with it. So I'm not in a warning. I'm not busted, right? I am back and I am live, right? Yeah, Leo, show this out to everybody. Hit those hearts, guys, right? Hit those hearts and let's get going. So when you guys pop in here, ask questions and we'll get going, right? I'll pick up wherever I was at. I'm going to remember where I was last night. Those of you who were here, you guys know that I was talking and I was answering questions. So let's talk about the Samael thing, because there was one guy that said Samael is just a fallen angel, not even an archangel. Not true. Not true at all. You need to do more research. I am a theologian and I have 4 minister titles in 4 different religions. I've spent my entire life studying religion and spirituality. Wrote a book about it. See it right here? The reality about reality, returning to the old ways, right there behind me. Okay, I wrote a book about that, telling you what's going on this place, what's going on this planet, and exactly what you need to be doing to get off this rock. Okay, so this guy comes in and says that Samael is just a fallen angel, and I'm like, Samael is not even listed, and my camera went down again. What is that? My camera's tripping. My phone's tripping. And my camera was tripping because I was getting a thing. I don't know what. It froze for a second, right? You know, it almost looks like the background in this light, like this background's fake, doesn't it? It looks like I'm sitting in a blue screen. What's going on with that? No, we're doing good. Thank you, Leah. Last night we were a little annoyed because we had that troll in there that we didn't boot out right away, and we're pretty sure that he reported me, so we reported him because he was in fact trolling a whole bunch of people. When I looked him up, there were people all over TikTok who were answering his trolling, where he was saying, you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't know this, and you don't know that, and they were just decimating him. And so I started going, why are you guys even putting up with this guy? You should just report him. So we reported him, and I said that was, hate speech in this guy. You can see him on mine telling me that he's threatening me and telling me that I'm going to, whatever it was that he said. He said words like, I'm absolutely, ooh, thank you. Thank you for whoever's joining the fan club there. Oh, looks like Leah and Brooke, you guys both did it. Thank you. All right, I forgot that it comes up on the screen. So right in the middle of when things got really intense, and there was a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And that's why that guy was jealous and he decided that I needed to go, right? Because I told him to fuck off. I leaned forward and told him that. And he got mad at me for doing that. How dare I talk to him like that, right? So he fixed me, he reported me, and I reported him. Let's see if he's still on air. He doesn't even go and do lives. The guy just uses AI to make videos, and that's it, right? So, right, absolutely, and blocked him. Yes, we did. We blocked him. I didn't block him, but we blocked him on Merlin&MAeve, and Brooke blocked him. I didn't block him because I wanted to make sure that I could still get to the guy if I needed to harass him if I didn't get TikTok reopening my thing if I ended up having to be off, because it was only like 3 days, right? Usually I only go live one day a week anyway, so I wasn't really concerned with it. Last time it was like a 14-day thing because same thing. I was talking to somebody, some troll came in, and I didn't boot him, and he was just angry with me and threatening me, and then he just reported me. I don't like that whole social score thing that the Chinese have going on TikTok, right? Where one person can just say that you're a conspiracy theory, and then they just take you down, and then you have to go tell me what, and you can't even type to them and say, explain to me exactly what I said, right? You can't even do that. But I did that. I sent it in, and they said no, and I sent it in again, and they said yes. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. You can mute them for the live so that so they can't troll you. You control him after, right? We didn't act fast enough to get rid of him. I was trying to work with him. I usually try to do that. So Brooke knows that, and she was waiting to see if I did that. If you know what I mean, because normally I don't want to just jump on somebody and I go, look, what are you doing? Relax, man. What is your problem? But some of those people are just trolls, and they just come in and start yelling at you, right? So yeah, so guys, ask questions. Otherwise, I'll just start talking, and then you guys can figure it out, right? So let's start with, right? We were talking about that. Let's start with, right? Lucifer, Satan, Samael. Okay. So many people try to say that Satan and Lucifer and Samael are the exact same people, right? So the word Satan actually comes from the east. There was no angel called Satan. They're like, oh no, he was the morning star. People just make stuff up as time goes on, that he was the morning star. So now his name is Morning Star, and you know, they're different languages. But Lucifer specifically was not an angel, was not an archangel. Lucifer was a human. Lucifer was a human with an elongated skull that lived in Atlantis, who was a general who actually started a revolution. They had a civil war in Atlantis, and the Thoth, the good guys, beat the bad guys, but the bad guys almost destroyed the Earth. So their penance was to be stranded on Earth. So the other people left Earth. The Atlanteans left Earth when the place sank, right? So the Atlanteans left Earth, but what they did was they stranded the people who were the started the war, Lucifer and his followers. That's the fall that you guys hear about, the fall of angels. Pardon me. So they literally, right, Morning Star is Lucifer and Earth Angels, right? And Earth Angels, there is a TV show that they're referring to called Lucifer. Yeah, there was a great TV show, and that was based on a comic book it was done. I love the show. Brooke and I watch it. Love the guy who plays Lucifer. Love his lines. Great show. Fun. Jerry Bruckheimer is the producer of that, or was when it was on, and that was from a comic book or something that they did that. But Lucifer, there was a guy named Lucifer that was here in the past, and he was a general in over there. But yeah, Morning Star. His name was Lucifer Morning Star, right? In the thing. So that was so that was literally, that was a good watch, right? Yeah, guilty. I watched it too. We're rewatching it now. I hadn't saw it when it was live, and Brooke liked it. So she said, "Have you ever seen this?" I said, "I wanted to see it when it was live, but I didn't watch it because I was taking care of my mother at the time, and Mom wouldn't have liked that. So I didn't watch it." And she goes, "Oh man, you got to watch this." So we watch it. We're binge watching it. We just stopped watching it about 2 weeks ago or about a week and a half ago, because we started watching some other things, because The Witcher, the new season of The Witcher came out, right? And we're both fans. She's a big fan. She's got all the books and everything. So we started watching The Witcher now with the, because they changed actors playing The Witcher. So we started doing that. However, let's get back on point, right? Lucifer. So Lucifer was actually you have the group of people who believe that they own this earth, the powers that should not be, and they're all Luciferians because they believe that they're descendants of these elongated skull people. Okay, and if you look at there was a little girl. They talked about this in Above Majestic. There's a documentary that came out in 2017 called Above Majestic. And they talked about that because there was a little girl in the United States that was doing her lineage. And she actually said, I wonder who Barack Obama, because he was the president at the time, I wonder who he's related to. And she found out that all American presidents, except for one, were all related to one another. And the guys in the Ancient Aliens group were like, wait, what? So if they're related, they found out that they all have this ancient ancestor who was a French prince from the D'Este clan. And they went, well, wait a minute. So they're all actually related to the European monarchy. How far does that go? So they started looking into that, and they found that those people had elongated skulls, the guys in the D'Este clan. And then they found that like everybody in the world was related. All the presidents, prime ministers, kings and queens of every country are all cousins. Third, fourth, fifth, second cousins. And they were like, what? And so they talked about it in that documentary that came out in 2017 or 2018 called Above Majestic, where they were talking about the powers that should not be. And then they talk about why everybody wears these mitre hats, right? Including Nefertiti, where she wore the, Egyptian queen, where she wore that big hat because they had an elongated skull. Right. So now come forward in time, no one has an elongated skull anymore because, their superior DNA. Their superior DNA was bred out because they had to breed with humans because they were getting too close. So Lucifer was, and their idea of their religion that they talk about, because they're a Luciferian. Lucifer wasn't a god. Lucifer wasn't a angel. Lucifer was actually a general in the military who came here supposedly flying in a UFO and came to Earth. And the descendants of those people, and they're from Atlantis, those people are the ones that are ruling things. Well, they were stuck here. So the story about you're stuck here in an alien race is your master comes out of their story of them being stuck here. And because if they were truly in charge, where are their spaceships? They didn't have any technology. It was stripped from them, taken from them, and they didn't have any technology, and they were all stuck here, right? So please ask questions in the chat. I'm talking about spirituality, but I'm giving you the history of Lucifer. Lucifer is not the devil. Lucifer is not Satan. Lucifer was evil. He was self-serving, but he was just an alien who was in a spaceship that even the Ancient Aliens people will tell you about on the TV series Ancient Aliens, right? So they'll even tell you about that, right? So hit those hearts. I know there's only like 5 or 6 of you in here, right? It actually says there's 9 people in here right now. So if you guys have questions, spiritual questions, ask me spiritual questions. I am channeling. You can see it. I don't know where it is on your thing, but over here there's a picture of Samael. I'm channeling Samael, and Samael's just sitting here right now, floating around, going, "Yeah, Satan is nobody. Satan is nobody." Right? So, what are your deepest desires? What are my? Oh, no, that's funny. That's from Lucifer. Oh my God, I love that when he would do that, because that look he would get, he would smile and he'd get those eyes, right? In the TV series, he'd get those eyes and go, "What are your deepest desires?" And then he would look at them like he was like candy. He couldn't wait. Oh my God, I love that. I love that, right? That was that is a great, I mean, it was a great series, but it is a great series if you haven't seen it. And Jerry Bruckheimer always recycles the actors. He loves to work with the actors and actresses. So some of the people that were in that, like currently when they're doing that TV series about Cal Fire, right? Fire Country. And the guy that played the cop who was the ex of the woman that was in there, that guy is actually in that, and Jerry Bruckheimer's producing that as well, and he's in that with the guy who he produced from the Navy SEAL show, and he's the star of that. It was his idea, and him and Jerry Bruckheimer are the producers of it. And then the other guy is on that series. So Jerry Bruckheimer loves to do that. And that girl used to be on Cal Fire, or no, Chicago Fire, or Chicago PD, PD, I think. Chicago PD, the one that was played the cop in that series. Okay, so yeah, right. Had to do the Lucifer Morningstar. Yeah, love that though. The detective. Yeah, she played a cop in Chicago PD. She was a detective in that years ago, like 7 years ago, 10 years ago almost. And then she was in that when that came out. Right after that's why she left. I believe she left that to do Chicago PD to do Lucifer, because she was basically the star. Her and Lucifer were the stars of the TV series. Jerry Bruckheimer, he's a genius. Love his movies, love his television series. Okay, so not Samael, not the devil, not Satan, right? And Samael doesn't have red skin and a black mustache and horns on his head and a tail and a pitchfork, okay? That whole thing, that whole thing came from like a comic book as well, way back a long time ago. But the idea of the great evil, and that's where it is. And some people will tell you that there was, people used to worship Saturn, and that's where we get the Satan is from the Saturn worshipers. It's kind of a stretch just because it's Satan, Saturn. Oh, that's so easy to just. That's how we got the word Satan, came from the word Saturn. That's just not true. But Saturn was, that was the black hole sun. Saturn was a little bit different, right? So where did Samael come from? Samael was an archangel. Samael was created when the second wave of creation, the first wave of archangels were created. He was a archangel, and when there was the split. So, is an archangel. She's correcting me from the other room. Is an archangel. So he was created just like all the other archangels. There are more archangels than they know of on this earth. It's just that there's just a certain number that have interacted with the people here. That's why you're hearing names now that people don't register, they don't know as an archangel, and they're like, that's not even an archangel. But see, even here on earth, if you look like at the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Bible, there's only 7 archangels, right? But then if you look at the Eastern Orthodox Church and in some of the Middle East religions, Muslim and stuff like that, they have more than 14, and they're all different than the 7 that the Hebrews have. So depending on where you are in the world, there are archangels that have been named that are not listed from one church or another, right? Was that part of the fallen angels? All archangels fell. This is what people are unaware of down here. They think that there was a war that happened in heaven because there was a rebellion. And that's just not what happened, right? That isn't what happened. There was not a war in heaven because of a rebellion. God decided there was a time when there was no veiling like now. Everybody knew they were God, okay? But then nobody was doing anything because we all knew that we were God. All souls were like, I'm God, you're God, we're all God. So they were sitting around and they were just like, yeah, man, I'm God. It's cool. We'll get there, dude, but you're God and I'm God. So the creator went, I created all these people and they're freaking lazy. They're not having experiences, and they're not having true experiences because they know that they're part of the creation. So then the creator came up with an idea. We have to have chaos, veiling and chaos to have a true organic experience. So the fall was when the creator said, I need volunteers who can also become evil. And the archangels said, Father, we'll do whatever you want us to do. So the creator said, I'm splitting all of you into 2 aspects, one evil and one good. And you're going to fall and create evil. And that's what happened, right? 3 wise men that tried to fix what the fallen angels did were the original part of the fallen. No, see, that's the stories that they tell you down here on earth. That the human race fell. If you read some of the scriptures, like for instance the book of truth, the scroll of truth, which was taken out of the Bible at the First and Second Council of Nicaea by Constantine, it's on the internet. You can read it. That in that scroll it says that the human condition wasn't even created by God, anyways. The creator of the universe created like the seraphim, the Nephilim, the archangels, and all of that. And then those people, an error, according to that book, a female deity figure that is a demigod, not the creator, but below the creator, error, she decided to create the third dimensional human condition. And it says that God gave her the ability, so God didn't create them, but she did, because she said, she was arrogant and said, I could create like God, and created an infallible, thinking an infallible, and it was a fallible thing. So they took that out of the canon because they didn't agree with that. Okay, so the stories that you hear about the fallen angels, I don't see anything up on the screen, Brooke. So you'll have to put something up there because you had something pinned, and I just heard you hit the thing, and there's nothing pinned for me to look at. Let's see. We have Yahshua 2, right? All I can say is the devil and the fallen ones are assets in the, hold on, I gotta see what the rest of this is, in the purpose of Yahweh. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Because the creator wanted all of us to have a fully organic experience. So we needed to have light and darkness. We needed to have up and down. We needed to have left and right. We needed to have masculine and feminine. Okay. So masculine warlike energy is the self-serving, aggression, war, hate, love of ourselves. And then the feminine energy is love for others, caring, nurturing. So you had to have the opposing side. So now you have an ego, which is self-serving and evil, and then you have the conscience. So you have the devil on your left shoulder and the angel on your right shoulder. Okay, so everything serves a purpose, and it was all the divine plan of the creator of the universe to then allow people to have and force them, because you're veiled, you don't remember anything, you don't know who you are, you don't know that you're part of the creator, you don't know that you're created by the creator, you just wake up and you're self-aware and you're born as a human. So you have no idea, and then you have to choose whether you're going to be in service to self and evil, or in service to others and good. And then you live your life by whichever way you go, and then you then become that, and you have organic experiences, right? Contrast is needed for learning. Absolutely right. 100% contrast is needed for learning. So you have to have the ego, because that's what pushes you ahead. So the chaos, the boogeyman, good and evil, having evil coming to get you and control you and all that, and even giving you those ideas in your head, forces you then to ponder. So then you have the conscience. So steal that. Wait, no, I don't think I need to do that. Yes, I want to do that. I want that thing. Well, that's not right. You can get it another way. Those are the narratives that play in your head, because you have those aspects of yourself that are now there in your mind thinking and giving you a choice of what to do. So that forces you to move on, because even though the ego is there and it's self-serving, it's also very objective, and it will tell you the truth. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to brush up on that. So the conscience will tell you what you need, what you want to hear, and the ego will either tell you what you want to hear or what you should, right? So that's just kind of the way it is. We have to have the ego so that we can learn. We have to have the conscience also so we can learn. It's that dichotomy. It's the Vesica Pisces, the yin and the yang. We have to have that perfect dance so that we can have this organic experience, so we can learn, grow, and the creator can then live vicariously through us. So we bring the knowledge of our experiences back and everything. And my friend, sometimes that happens. Refresh the screen over there and see if I come back, right? Are you guys seeing me frozen? My wife says I'm frozen. Yes, she said it glitched. Okay. Yeah, and Leah said it glitched too. I'm back. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but sometimes it does that. So thank you guys for letting me know that I glitched and came back, right? Leah said she can't stay long, about 4 minutes. Well, share it out, right? So we can get some more people in here asking questions. So if you guys want to ask questions, ask some questions. Otherwise, I'll keep talking about things, right? So literally, we have to have those experiences. And to have those experiences, the creator is then, collectively, we're bringing those back. We're recording it. You're recording what I say to you. I'm recording what you say to me. This place is recording it from the third person. And then that goes to the Akashic records, the halls of Amente, whatever you want to call that, or whatever you know that as. and then you can access it later, or the creator can access it as well. So the creator is becoming aware of itself in this place. So it's living vicariously through us, and knows, because the creator doesn't know what it's like to die, or to be hungry, or to be sick, or to have broken bones, to be physical. So we're living that. We're doing that for those experiences, so the creator can then grow as well. So people say God's perfect and God knows everything. It's just not true. God is trying to, otherwise we wouldn't be having this scenario. My boyfriend is a Satanist and I'm a Christian. Should we be together or separate? Asking for reasons. You just got to decide what you're going to do, right? Do you love him and you're willing to put up with him, right? One of my friends that I grew up with was a satanic priest. I am a minister. We still talk, right? We put that dichotomy aside when we talk, and sometimes we get into it and joke about it, about being on the opposing sides, and I'll say something and he'll go, "Your God doesn't exist," or you know what I mean. So it depends on what kind of relationship do you have. If your faith says you shouldn't be with him, maybe you should rethink that. But if you love him and you guys seem to be getting along, and he's a Satanist and he's like, "Hail Satan," and you're like, "Hail God," and you guys are okay with it, stay together. That's up to you. Religions will tell you not to, but if he's self-serving and you realize that he's self-serving and you don't like being with somebody that's self-serving, then you have decisions to make, but it's completely up to you, right? So quantum entanglement, essentially, yes, we were just talking about that last night. Yes, quantum entanglement is exactly what's happening with the dichotomy, of what's going on. That's the Vesica Pisces. The Vesica Pisces is the quantum entanglement. I mean, if you think about it, the yin and the yang is quantum entanglement. There's a little bit of light and darkness, and there's a little bit of darkness and light. They're both the same. That's the overlapping of the heart chakra, because the heart chakra is the place of love that everything works. So even evil people love, they just love themselves. And then people who are in service to others, not self-serving, they love everyone else and themselves, but they love everyone else. So that's literally the personification. So, like the macrocosm, right, to the microcosm, or we're the microcosm to the macrocosm. We are actually living that, right? We're living that quantum entanglement down here, and we're choosing which side to be. Do you see? So as below, so above. So yeah, it is actually just exactly that, right? The alpha and the omega, creator of the quantum. Absolutely. That's the 3, 6, and 9. Do you know about that mathematics? How far do you go with that? That's Bas Amun Ra. How far do you know about that? The 3, 6, and 9, right? So the Higgs boson, the God energy, is the 9 energy, and 9 is everything and nothing. Look at the way we count. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All, and then we go 0 with a 1 to be the 10, 11, 12, and it goes back up to 9, 19, 0, and a 2. Okay, so the Higgs boson, the God energy, is 9, and 9 is everything and nothing, alpha and omega, beginning and end, right? Never heard of Archangel Samael. Interested. See, if you're a Hebrew or a Christian, you wouldn't know the name Samael, because Samael's not listed, because the Hebrews and the Christians only have 7 archangels. So if you look at the Eastern Orthodox Church, right? If you look at the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Muslims, so you go further east, away from the Israelis and the Christians, further east, you'll see the Samael's listed as an archangel. And some people know that because they say Samael's the devil, because Samael was a fallen angel. Okay, so that's where you get that from, right? He despises the Bible. I'm not sure who you were talking about there that despises the Bible. You're thinking of Samael despises? Samael doesn't despise the Bible, but Samael does do the work. Samael is the angel of death, and just like Ariel is, and Samael is the personification of all evil, and Osiris is the lord of the underworld. Osiris is another guise of Samael, right? So those are just different names for the same thing in those god pantheons in different religions or different cultures. I don't know if that is making any sense, right? Samael's an angel, is the angel of death. Yes, not an archangel. No, Samael is actually an archangel. You can look that up. but also is the angel of death. But not all the time. If you look, you'll hear people that are Christians say that Azrael is the angel of death. I think it's Azrael is the angel of death, but Samael is definitely the angel of death. You can look this up, Google it. It just depends on what religion you're looking at, where Samael is actually listed. Like I said, the Hebrew and Christian religion doesn't have a Samael at all. It's when you look at the Eastern Orthodox Church and their Bible and the Bible from the Ethiopians and the Muslim Bible, you'll find Samael is mentioned in there, right? Need the apocalypse of what is that of Baruch, right? Read the apocalypse, right? Yeah. So if you look at, I'm going to have to reread that, right? But if you look at the different places in the different religions and the different spiritual practices, if you base your knowledge from one place, like is it Moses saying, if you base your knowledge on one religion, you're only going to get what they're telling you and selling you. So if you look around to all the other religions, I'm a theologian. That's exactly what I've been doing my entire life. I have 4 different religious titles in 4 different religions. Why? Because I've spent my entire life reading about religion. I wrote a book about it. Here it is right here behind me, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. And it's literally, telling you what they don't want you to know. Instead of comparing religion and go, well, this book was borrowed from that book and that book was borrowed from this book, which is what they want you to do, then you're chasing your tail chasing scrolls. I said, well, what is it that they're all borrowing? If they're all borrowing something and copying off of another religion, what is it that they're copying? And what you find out is what they're copying is the same message that every single guru, whatever you want to call them, the Christ character, the Savior character, is bringing the information. So did Jesus copy Lao Tzu and the Buddha and Osiris and all of that, and Jesus just made all that up and said, I am this character? Well, people told the story of the things that he did. Do you think that was all made up? Some people say, oh, the Romans made all that up to control the Jews. Well, it didn't work because the ones who did that couldn't change the religion of the Romans and became Christianized. And the Romans are still Christianized to this day because of it. Okay, so you have to see that, right? He also mentioned in the Jewish pseudo paragraph from the Second Temple literature. See, so again, and then depending on where that is, because that's not going to be listed in the Old Testament by the Christians, because they edited that stuff with Constantine was making Jesus a god, and then King James changed it again. So again, right, you see that there is in names, you see that there's places where these people, and where are those from? Those are from older scrolls that were handpicked out of the Bible that we currently are using in the modern day so the Hebrew Bible is slightly changed as well, but not as much, right? But what they call the Old Testament in the Christian Bible, the Hebrews would be like, that's not ours. You guys have just totally edited that stuff. And they know that, and they talk about it, right? So, cuneiform. Cuneiform is what they used back when they did the Enuma Elish was written in cuneiform, a form of it, and that's where that evolved into like Sanskrit, and that evolved into most of the languages in the East, right? Enlil and Enki, right? So Anu, Enki, Enlil, yes, that's where they're trying to get the whole Anunnaki thing name from, and it was all wrong. Zachariah Sitchin messed up the translation, and then Georgios Tsoukalos from the History Channel's Ancient Aliens changed it from the god Anu came, and then the next year he said those from the heavens came, and it became a species. But it was Anu, the Greek god Anu is what they were referring to. It wasn't even a Mesopotamian god. It was the Greek god from the Akkadians that they borrowed. And so it actually was borrowed from them. And when you asked them where that came from, they said they borrowed it from the Egyptians, and the Egyptians said that they found it. It was from a scroll that they found that was older than their society as well. So it's not the oldest scroll in the world; it's a version of it. It was actually 1,100 years older than the Enuma Elish. Was an Akkadian scroll, and the Akkadians got it from like I said, the Egyptians, and the Egyptians said that it was even older, right? Atlas III, right? Are you saying? Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying there. So you literally You literally have people then chasing the scroll and saying, well, everything was based on this scroll. Well, what was the story? What is the meat of that scroll, right? What is the story? The story is the same story that's happened countless times. The Jesus character, the Jesus story of the descent into human and then the death and resurrection is a story that has happened at least 15 times or 20 times prior to that person, and it was told about by people. Okay, but it was, the person's name wasn't Jesus. They changed the name, right? It's a different person in a different time in a different place, but the story is the same. So people, instead of saying, what is the story, they have you focusing on, oh no, you have to find out who wrote it first then, because that was based on this one. It sounds just like it, so it must have been stolen from them. You don't know that, first of all. You can't make that assumption, second of all, unless someone says, we borrowed this story from the Mesopotamians. You don't know that they did. Just because there's a scroll that's older that has a similar story doesn't mean that they took it. It's possible that they did, but here's the thing. The story of, I say this all the time, the story of the Vikings with Thor is the exact same story of Jesus. It's the exact same story of Moses. It's the exact same story of Marduk. And then when you get away from that, the Buddha and Lao Tzu, who were both alive around the same time in China, are also telling the same story of a way that you're supposed to learn to get off of this rock. Okay, so it's in there. That's why I wrote it in my book, The Reality of About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. What it is, the meat is the same. Carl Jung was onto it. People all throughout history in every country were telling the same story, and it wasn't because they borrowed it from someone else. Okay, if you don't know anything about spirituality at all, and you live your entire life under a rock, but you learn what you're supposed to learn, you will unlock a knowledge that will explain to you exactly, you'll get a download of exactly what you're supposed to do in life. And then you write it down and hand it to somebody. They're going to go, you must have read that and borrowed it from somebody, right? So yes, please ask your spiritual questions, because right now I'm just answering you as Leonard, but Samael is just sitting here waiting for somebody to ask a question about spirituality, about what's going on, and he'll tell you everything that's going on. You just got to ask. Right now I'm just giving you scholarly information that I've learned in my life, because I've spent my entire life learning about religions and learning about spirituality, and I teach it. Like I said, I have 4 different titles in 4 different religions that are, a father, priestly, minister title. And this is what I do, right? So what is going on in the world? What is going on in the universe? What is going on? What is the dynamic? Well, how does this place work? How does this matrix work? You guys want to know the answers to that? Ask those questions. Tell me what you want to hear about. That's what I'm here for. I can only tell you what you want to know, and I can only tell you what you're ready to hear, okay? So if you ask a question, I will give you an answer no matter what it is. Now, also, I'm also a psychic medium, so I can answer different questions and really freak you guys out. Last night when I was on the live, I was freaking people out. They were like, what? And they loved it, and they kept asking questions, right? But I was 4 hours into it, had to get off, and then I'm back today to answer more questions. So if you guys have questions, ask them, and I shall answer them for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a drink of my coffee because I think it's cooled down enough to do that. It has. I may even dip a cookie in it, right? I didn't eat any lunch because I decided to come on live here, and it is in the afternoon here because I'm in New South Wales, Australia. If you're over in California, it's almost 9 o'clock for you p.m., so you guys are getting ready to go to bed probably. Does he have a personal MSG message for me? Who? You talking about me, or are you talking about Samael? A personal message for you. I can tell you the personal message for you and everybody else on this planet is actually very simple. You're missing the entire point of this place. Personal message is, what is going on? Jessica says, Jessica, I am channeling Archangel Samael and I am answering your questions. And the question was posed, does Samael have a personal message for me? And I'm giving a personal message for everybody on the earth. You guys are not understanding what it is that you're supposed to be doing here, and you're missing the entire point, because there are people who are in the know. They're smart as to how this place works, and they're distracting you 24 hours a day and keeping you from actually doing what you're supposed to be doing here, and that's got you stuck. And because of that, your souls are not graduating from this college like you're supposed to be doing. And because of that, your immortal soul that you're unaware of, because you have a veiling, you have amnesia that's supposed to happen. You down here don't realize that you are stuck, but you sense it because you're tired. You've been here a long time. You want to go home. You don't like this place. Okay, but you can't get out of here until you change your attitude. You have to actually start looking within yourself and stop scrolling on TikTok and stop ignoring everything and thinking that likes and clicks and money and power and fame are the way to go. That's a distraction and a distortion to keep you here. Wasn't Samael another name that God called Lucifer? No, but there were other names that the other countries or other religions called Samael, and then there's other planets that are not Earth, that are in different areas of this Milky Way galaxy and around that know Samael as different names. But there were different names like Osiris, the god of the underworld, Set, Shiva, the destroyer of worlds. There are other names in different countries that are representing the same character, the same person that is the Archangel Samael, the angel of death, things like that. So Lucifer has become synonymous with Samael, just like Satan has. But Lucifer was actually a human who had an elongated skull, who wasn't from Earth. It was from a planet called Maldek that's now blown up, that is now what you guys call the Kuiper Belt. And he was in a civil war, and when they were fighting amongst themselves, Earth was the only place that could sustain human life. So they all came down here and continued their war. If you look in your history, you'll see that there was a war of the gods in the sky that took place in almost every culture here that they were talking about a long time ago. And the History Channel loved that and got a hold of it and went, there was aliens. So Lucifer was actually the general in the military of the Atlanteans. And he lost, and his penance was that he was stranded on Earth. So now the powers that should not be around the world, who think they own this planet, they all think they're descendants of the elongated skull people, and they actually have this secret religion called Luciferianism, where they're actually following Lucifer still to this day, even though it's 10 generations ago that he existed. So what is going on spiritually? I've been working on my awakening. Okay, you're doing good then. You're working on your awakening. What has been going on spiritually is exactly what I was just telling you, that here on this planet, everybody got stuck and your immortal soul called out for help. So some of us from a higher plane came down here to help fix that, okay? And then we decided with the Creator, instead of blowing up the earth and killing everybody off in a cataclysm, which is normally what happens in third dimension, where you have that rapture, where you have like a meteor that strikes or a war where people blow themselves up, the Creator decided to try something new. What if somebody said to the Creator, what if instead of doing that, we upgrade everybody because they're behind and they all should be 4D going into 5D? What if we upgrade them and put them back on track instead of killing everybody and recycling them? And the Creator went, that's a good idea. We've never tried that before. Weirdly, then the Creator said, let's do it. And so what we're doing here is exactly that, right? And what you're dealing with, they want you and me and our children dead. Are you talking about the evil people? Yes, they do. Yes, is that what if you're talking about the now remember TikTok, everything that we're talking about here is for entertainment purposes only, so I don't get booted, right? So are you talking about the powers that should not be, my friend? Yes, they want all of us dead, so they're trying to start the Third World War so they can recycle all of us and make you guys all die and then have to recycle it, and then you won't remember who you are, right? So we don't live on a planet, we don't live on a planet. Space and galaxies do not, I don't know what the rest of that is, I'll have to look, and galaxies do not exist. We don't live on a planet. Space and the galaxy does not exist. Is that what you're saying? So are you one of those people that thinks that the Earth is flat and there is no such thing as a planet and galaxies don't exist and space doesn't exist? Right? I think that's what you're trying to say, right? I'm not sure if that's what you're trying to say. I hope that's not what you're trying to say. That would be the archons and the bloodline families. Yes, Destroyer. That would be the Archons and the Bloodline families. The Archons were the Luciferians, and the Bloodline families are, yeah, I don't want to say that too much, because if we say that too much, then somebody gets weirded out on TikTok, right, for us saying that, and they get weirded out. But yes, that's exactly, I talk about that in my book right here. I call them the controllers. That's the reality about reality returning to the old ways. I call them the controllers in there so that I wouldn't get in trouble with them as well. You know what I mean? I wouldn't, that's, because otherwise, yeah, you don't want to say things too much. Like if you look at Jesse Ventura in the United States, he was the governor of Wisconsin 2 years, two terms, and he was a Navy SEAL, one really decorated Navy SEAL. He went up against the Bilderbergers and said stuff about them too much and was uncovering it, and he got exiled to Mexico, right? Yeah, I work for the administration. I know what you're talking about, right? So yeah, see, so please don't try to get me off of here because I'm talking about that. Don't go. Yeah, this guy needs to go, because I'm not trying to in any way go after them or talk about that. I'm trying to help people spiritually to realize what's going on. So I hope you don't work for them, or I hope you do, but I hope you're not like evil on their side, right? Live in one of 53 rings of land, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that theory, bro, is just wrong about the Earth being flat. You'll understand that someday. The Earth is actually round; it can't exist flat. But that's okay. You can believe what you want. It doesn't really matter. It's not important what you believe. What's the name of your book? The name of my book right here is The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. It's right here in the background. So yeah, Brooke, my wife is in the audience. Brooke, can you there you go. Yeah, that's Brooke, my wife. She's got that up for you. The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. It's on sale worldwide online right now. You can order it in any country in the world and have it sent to you. You can also get it on audio, or not audio book yet. We're working on that. You can get it on ebook. As well, or you can order if you're in New South Wales, you can buy one from me. I'm in New South Wales, Australia, but if you're anywhere else in the world, the United States, it's published in the United States, it's published all over the world, right? Thank you for whoever did that. Who was that did that? Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you. So yeah, I talk about that in that book, and I explain to you in that book the Christ oil and what it is that you're supposed to be doing here, and what it is that you haven't figured out that you're supposed to be doing, that was all the religions were telling you about, all the ways of spiritual practice was telling you about in the past, and then it was taken away from you by those powers that should not be. Is there more to Earth than what we're told on other lands? Yes. Yes, and that the guys that are flat earthers don't want to. Well, I think they kind of think that there's the hollow Earth as well. The Earth is a torus, okay? So it's not a globe. It's actually a torus, so that there's part of it that goes in the center, because that's the way the universe works, right? You work that way. You go to the 0 point. The 0 point of you is your heart chakra, right? That's the 3, 6, and 9. That's why you saw Leonardo draw the Vitruvian Man, and you see them in the different positions. Right, the Christ position in knot, right, in the heart chakra. The heart is in the center of that, and it makes the 5-pointed star, right? And so that's the Star of David, the pentacle, and it's also the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang is showing it's the Vesica Pisces. It's showing you that, right? So the heart chakra is the triple toroidal field of the human condition. It's in everything in the entire universe. The lower 3 chakras is this physical plane. The upper 3 chakras is the spiritual plane, the astral plane, and both are ruled by the heart, because evil people who are self-serving love themselves, and good people who love everyone else love also. So the heart is where your soul is, right? The Taurus aspect is the energy field, and it's not shaped. What are we saying here? It's not shape. It's not shape. Is that what you're trying to say? It's not shape. Are you trying to say that it's not round, that it's not shape? Everything is actually very smooth in the universe, and then it's jagged at the same time. So I'm not quite sure what you're saying. The Taurus, not the Taurus like the Taurus the bull. I'm talking about the Taurus. The Taurus is a round globe that has a hole in the center that goes to 0 point. It's the energy that is 3, 6, and 9. One energy spirals outward forever, and the other energy spirals inward forever, going the opposite direction. And the 9 energy flips both energies over on themselves. I was a physicist in college. And so if you're not a physicist, you don't understand that, but you should, because you should know that if you know physics. So the 9 energy, the Higgs boson, the God energy, flips those energies over and turns them back on themselves, and they go back to the 0 point. That's the 0 point, right? So I've been in a C-130 looking. Oh no, you're a flat earther. You've been in a C-130 looking at stuff. So you're claiming that you were in the air flying, and so because of that you could see. So please do me a favor. I tell all flat earthers this. Your entire theory is based on a guy in the 1700s who found the firmament, the ice wall. Please go and film it and stream it live and show it to the world as you're showing this ice wall that you can't get around. And also fire a rocket up and film it when it bounces off your dome. Okay, and make sure that it's not AI, and show the world that, and everybody will believe what you're saying. You guys keep claiming things and going, I did this and I did that, and I can tell you that this is what's going on. Oh no, but they won't let me show that. Well, if you guys truly want to prove that your theory is accurate and that all of this is just going on inside of a snow globe and there's nothing else outside there, what is nighttime? What is that? Are those pinholes and there's a curtain that's drawn over? Is that a projection? Right? I'm here to tell you that that's just not true, bro. You can say what you want and you can believe what you want, but it's just not true. Right? I know that you want it to be so bad, but you guys, if it were true, you could be able to prove it, right? So your theory is that every single person that's ever flown a plane anywhere on every continent, including every federal government and every military and every civilian airlines and every space program, all of those people, that half of the planet is lying to the other half of the planet for money. I mean, that theory doesn't add up, bro. That theory doesn't add up, because you wouldn't have to do that. You could just say something else and make money and not have to have this conspiracy theory of covering up that much information because you want more cash. Dude, they created COVID and then said we need $1 trillion to make a shot to give it to you. And you you went for it. Do you see? They don't have to pretend that there's space because they don't want to change the books, bro. I'm just saying, right? But I think that you're right about there are more lands, bro. I'm not going to argue with that, right? You're saying I'm not arguing with you, bud. There are 53 other land masses. No, I agree with you in that respect, dude. If you're not a flat earther, but inside there's people, dude. When you go to the top and the bottom of this place, if you look at Google Earth, they got it wired out, man. There are other lands. You're absolutely right, my friend. And if you've read Admiral Byrd's stuff, even the ones that people think is made up, although don't look at the photos that are online, those things are so Photoshopped, dude. But if you read all of that, they flew. Why would they spend that much money? Again, here's that thing where like people say it's a conspiracy theory. Why would they take an entire freaking military and go to Antarctica, then turn right around and go all the way to the North Pole for no reason besides we're just going to go and see what's going on, and then go, nobody else can go here because there was some shit there. You're absolutely right, bro. So I apologize if I was coming across like, I was like attacking you, because I wasn't doing that, but I was like, oh man, if you're a flat earther, dude, I feel for you. But you're right. There are way more land masses and there are people living there, right? There are aliens that you think are aliens. There are people that have been living in their other races, like the Draconians and the Nordics and the Greys. There are other beings on this earth besides human, right? And they're living in there, and they don't want us to know out here because we're children out here and we're all veiled and we're controlled by all of them. I don't want to get too far into that, because if I do, then the algorithm gets weirded out, dude. So I love you guys, though. So thank you for keep hitting those hearts, please. Because I agree with you. I just don't want to, get too much. So back to the fallen ones, right? So the fallen ones is not what people think. Everyone thinks it was the fall of man, that there was a war that went on in heaven, and that Lucifer or Satan, led them, and then they were this war. That's what they're telling you. That goes on within you. That's a story that was supposed to be telling you that is what you're supposed to be overcoming. You have an ego that talks to you, and you have a conscience that talks to you in your head, and those things are there to help you learn by giving you the opposites, the true opposites: masculine, feminine, war and peace, greed, gluttony, and the opposites. Do you see? So you have, rape those people, pillage those people, steal that stuff, take those things, get power, get money, get control, and then the other side of that, don't do those things. You know what I mean? You're supposed to decide that. Do you think that Bigfoot could be developed Nephilim? No, Bigfoot was actually created. Dude, this will freak you out, dude. Bigfoot was created by us. Okay, there's a galactic council that is protecting this planet because the evil people got control of this, because the people you call the Anunnaki came here and gave an information to the people. They're not the Anunnaki, but we'll stay away from that for now. But some people came here and gave information to the people here, and that's what got the people stuck here. Okay, so because of that, and the fact that some of the people from Mars were recycled onto Earth, and they wanted to make sure that they could live their life and not blow themselves up with nukes, because that's what they did on Mars. So they wanted to live their lives and not blow themselves up with nukes. So because of that, nuclear weapons were created here, and that's why we have that nuclear problem that we have going on. So because of that, the two of the species of the Sasquatch were created because they actually are resistant to radiation, high levels of radiation. So they're running around, in and around the Earth. So if the Earth blows itself up, most of the souls that are now in human bodies can inhabit those bodies and be born in those bodies and still live on the planet without dying from radiation poisoning. So Brixateri asks, what do you think about the Operation Fishbowl? Well, it depends on, I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to when you're saying that, but that stuff is, most of the things that come from all of the governments in the deep states around the world are contingency plans that they're trying to keep status quo here. Okay, so Fishbowl, the idea of containment of the races is what's happening here. It is what's happening here, but this place is already designed that. This is a college. This is a school that you guys all volunteered for, but it got stuck. So it was already really stuck, harder than any other school that's normally this. And then you ended up getting into this stuck thing. So it got even worse than it already is. So it got worse. What are you saying? I can't hear what you're saying. My wife's trying to talk to me, and I can't hear what she's saying.
It's not letting me pin it.
Oh, it's not letting you pin anything?
He's saying that it shot nukes into the dome.
Oh, I don't know if they shot nukes into the dome. I see it. My wife's trying to pin things in the other room, and it wouldn't let her pin you for some reason. I'm not sure what was going on there. To crack the dome, shot nukes to crack the dome. Oh, well, I don't believe that. I mean, you'd be able to see it. Somebody would be able to see it, and so you know what I mean. Oh, well, they did it in an area where nobody was looking. You guys see things when rockets take off. People see them from thousands of miles away and think they're UFOs. Okay, so no, it is a school. It is a trap, but it is a school. It is, and if you're a Gnostic. The Gnosis religion that's up and coming now is teaching you that, they talked to Jesus and Jesus taught them something different. So I lied to everybody, but this is the truth. And this isn't a school. It's a trap. It is a trap. It's a trap of the mind. It was designed by the Creator so that you would have an organic experience. Okay. This matrix is designed by the Creator. You don't get to know who you are, and you're trapped here. You're a prisoner of your own device. You're trapped in your own mind. If you think this place is a trap, you're going to be trapped in it. Okay? This is normal. This is what happens in third dimension. You're supposed to learn that and figure that out. Okay? So it is a trap, and it is a school. Okay? It's a place for baby souls. When they first become self-aware, they get mind wiped so that you can have an organic experience of living, dying, and not knowing that you're an immortal soul. At some point, you're supposed to learn that you are an immortal soul, and then you graduate from here. But the reason for all of this is because the Creator, who can't die and never has, is trying to feel what it would be like to do this. So we're all doing this and it's being recorded. I'm recording it, you're recording it, this place is recording it, and the Creator is experiencing it through us, living vicariously, literally living vicariously through us and our experiences. So the more experiences that we all have, the more experiences that the Creator is also having. That's the truth of what's happening here. So it is a trap that was created by the Creator. It is a school. You're just unaware of it until you become aware of it. Everybody learns that, whether you're evil or whether you're not evil. At some point in your development, when you get move up on your vibration, you actually unlock that on both sides and actually learn that. Okay, so a school is a prep for prison on Earth. If that's what it's been turned into, you're absolutely right. Down here on Earth, all schools have been controlled. This place is being controlled. This place right now is being controlled, and you're being controlled when you're on TikTok and you're scrolling. Every time you like something, there's an algorithm that gives you more of what you like. This place is designed to do the same thing, my friend. So you could really blow your mind and look at it like completely crazy if you wanted to. The truth is, you're absolutely right. This place is all the schools here are teaching you to obey. This entire place isn't teaching you to obey. It is a school. School doesn't mean a place that you are being taught only to obey. That's what this place has been turned into, because religion has been turned the same way, my friend. So religion in and of itself is not bad, but when you get evil people controlling it, they're not letting you know what you're supposed to know to get out of here. So even religion is now being used as a control mechanism. So some people say, I don't believe in religion because it's a control mechanism. There is nothing here that's not a control mechanism. Okay? Everything here is a distortion. It's a control mechanism. Why is that? Because it's supposed to. It is supposed to confuse you, me, and everybody else so that we all have different opinions and we can make up anything that we want and run with it as far as we want to go with it, okay? That's the whole purpose. The whole purpose is so that we all have different experiences so the Creator can have those experiences. That's the truth. So if you want to believe that this place is just a trap, then I ask you this. What do you think is what you're supposed to be doing here? Because if you believe that you're in a prison, then you think that you have to find that pill that you can take so that you can find out that there's robots and you're in goo. Do you know what I mean? Melissa, hey, how we doing? Right? How we doing? Thanks for popping in. Hit those hearts for me and share this out, right? So yeah, thanks for popping in. So right, ask questions. So I ask people like that when because I mean, if it's everything is a conspiracy theory and we're all controlled and it's a 3D prison and there's some aliens that own all of this, then what do you think is going on here, right? I mean, I've done a podcast about that. I did 25 episodes about the non-incident in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, where there was no alien called Errol that actually existed, and they deep state didn't interview this Errol, and a woman didn't turn this information over to us, and we didn't learn about it, and we didn't talk about it, right? So there was a whole narrative there too. Remember that it's a trap. I'm not going into the light, right? So yeah, see, that's the story that's being told to you so that you won't, because they're saying you have to run for your life. Don't go into the light because it's going to zap your immortal soul and make you erase, or someone's going to tell you you're on a secret mission. See, when you want to lie to people, you have to tell them some truths with many lies. That's one of the many lies, my friend. But you can believe that if you want. So Terry says, so what does it mean when Anubis shows up but says nothing and just stares at you? So Anubis, well, it depends on what the context was, but if Anubis is the god of the underworld, okay, so it depends on the context, but Anubis is the god of the underworld. In the ancient times, the underworld meant within. It didn't mean under the earth, and it meant the darkness, the veiling, and that was within yourself, okay? So if Anubis shows up and he's staring at you, you either have somebody that's projecting that to you because they're trying to scare you, because evil people do that and evil entities do that to scare you, or Anubis is actually trying to wake you up and get you to look into the possibility, because Anubis is the god of the underworld, and people think that means the evil god. It doesn't. It meant within. The underworld meant within, that meant inside the darkness. So that's inside you. So when you're living in the flesh, living in this place, you're actually living in the underworld. You're living in the darkness because you're veiled and you don't remember what's going on. So Anubis, I would say, from what I'm getting, Anubis was just trying to expand your consciousness and get you to wake up. Right. So Richard says the light is a trap for those naturally preserved in darkness. The light would be a trap for those who are evil because the light defeats evil always. But if you're talking about the soul leaving the human body, then it's not a trap because you're not going to go there and get zapped. You will recycle. This is how it works. This is the lie that they're telling you. They're telling you it's a lie and it's some evil aliens that are controlling you and they're going to zap your soul because they can mind wipe your soul, your spirit, and put you back into a body and this is your prison. That's the lie. The truth is that is how it works. When you die, your soul comes out. I am the angel of death. I am Samael, right? Samael's talking to you. I am Samael. There's a picture here. The angel of death collects your soul to make sure that you make the transition and you go to the place of healing first to make sure that you're okay and you transition and then you remember who you are. You remember that you're your higher self. You remember you're a part of God. And then we take you to the place of reflection. Your family's there. Your guides are there. Your higher self is there. And you go, did I learn what I was supposed to learn? And then you figure it out and you start designing your next life. And then you insert that into the matrix. I mean, it's not like a machine that you put in because it's not 3D. And then by that time you design who you're going to be born to, and then you get inserted at the moment of conception and you go into a body. You then, when you become human, you then get mind wiped again and you don't remember what just happened to you. And then you're born, you have no idea what's going on, okay? After death comes judgment, not in one lifetime. There is no judgment. That's a lie too. That's a lie to control you, that you only have one life and that there's somebody above you that's a caste system and that God's in charge and that God's going to have a judgment day and judge everyone. That's a lie that the people who took control of your churches down here were doing to control you because they have to set up the caste system where one person's in charge and you're nobody and you're down at the bottom. That's a control mechanism that is being used by evil people here. You're the only judgment. You judge yourself. Every time you die, when you go there, until you learn what you were supposed to learn, then you move up to the next life. This was being taught by every religion, even the one that you got that idea from, up until the year 239 or 293, in the 200s, before the year 300, or maybe before the year 400. That information was changed by Constantine. I'll trust Jesus and the Bible, thanks anyway. I am actually a minister of 4 different religions. I was knighted by the Holy Roman Catholic Church. I am a knight. I'm a 4th degree knight, and I'm a minister from the Universal Life Church in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm also a theologian, and I teach spirituality. So Jesus is a good way to go and listen to what Jesus was teaching you instead of listening to the book of Romans that you'll be taught in your church. Why is the Church of Jesus Christ, who was in fact a Hebrew, who was from the Hebrew religion, why is it that this church is teaching you the book of Romans, not the book of Christ? Okay? I know that because I'm a minister. They're teaching you the book of Romans because they're teaching you to be a good little Roman and wait here so that you get stuff. Read what Jesus said in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John was teaching you the way. And what was that way? That way was the way to follow his lead and do what he said to go to heaven. So you should trust Jesus. You're right in doing that. And I love you for doing that. Thank you for doing that, because you should. You should trust Jesus more than you trust the church. How do I know how many times I've been on earth? Oh, that's a great question. Been stuck here for this loop, right? So normally, if you were here for the very first time and you just became a human, you would live for between 7 and 10 lifetimes to graduate, to learn what you need to learn to graduate to the 4th density, the 4th dimension, okay? And then you would move up into the 5th dimension. But a place like this, sometimes they get stuck. This place has gotten stuck. I don't know exactly how many times you've been here, but you've been here for a long time no matter what. So you've been here for thousands of years, longer than you were supposed to. And that's why I'm here, and that's why other people have come here. We're come to restore the balance for you. So you've been here a long time. That's why you're tired. You've been here a very long time. So you either just came here because you're helping, or you've been stuck here. And if you've been stuck here, you've been here for about, I hate to say it, but you've been here for almost about 70,000 years. And you were only supposed to be here for about 1,000, maybe 2,000. So that's very possible. And I know that you might not want to hear that. That might really freak you out. How come we've been stuck here? That's actually a good question as well. This school is one of the schools that you guys all volunteered for. You don't know that, but you volunteered to come here because it's actually really hard and you get stuck. But you got stuck. Sometimes people do things and then they get stuck. Well, evil people here got knowledge of how this place works properly, and they got it from someone that you guys call the Anunnaki, from a group of people who came here and gave them information which was against God's laws. So because of that, the people here got stuck because they're literally, the way out of here is right in front of you, and they edited the Bibles and took it all out in the first and second Constantine in the first and second Council of Nicaea. And then they burned it. When they burned Alexandria, they burned all the knowledge, and they tried to eradicate all of the knowledge from the world to tell you that of the things on how to get out of here, but it's still in that stuff, right? Talking about Anubis.
We are one of them.
Talking about Anubis or other divine beings visiting our planet, our awareness, right? So yes, okay. So if you're asking about, she's coming in to tell me because I was misunderstanding your question. If you're asking about Anubis or other divine beings, there's many of us have come. This is what I'm saying. You guys got stuck, and then you called out for help, and us from a higher plane, many of us, there are millions of us, quite possibly billions of us from a higher plane of existence, came down here to help. And we've come in legally. Okay, so I was born in this body. I've been on this earth in many, many lifetimes, and each one I've been trying to help get things unstuck. Okay, so literally, everybody here is stuck, and we're all stuck together. Okay, I came here with a very large group of people. Almost every archangel, in fact, every archangel you've ever heard of is here, and some you've never heard of. Because on this planet they were working on other planets at the time, and those people are in the religions on other planets. Okay, the group of people who came here, they got 23 total solar systems in this sector of the Milky Way galaxy stuck. Okay, and then we came after them and they left, and we're freeing all of them, and all of them are free but two right now. And this happens to be one of them because this place was a different kind of school that was harder. So where everybody got stuck even harder than they normally would. So right now you guys are still mind wiped because that's the way it works, and we're not changing that. But right now you're awake enough to where I can tell you these things. Okay? When there was a time when I couldn't even tell you these things, even in this lifetime. Yeah, I believe that, and they're trapping souls too in Hollywood. Yeah, the evil people are still trying to trap everybody. They want to start a third world war now because people like me are here and they need to kill this body, so I have to recycle, which means I have to come into another body and be veiled again, and then hope I wake up and remember who I am. So they're trying to do that. So how do I get out? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. That's the answer to that. Well, first of all, it's in my book. You can look it up, but it's not just in my book. It's everywhere for you. In my book, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways, gives you that information, but I'll give it to you right now. You need to look within yourself and stop looking without. All of your religions on this earth and philosophical and spiritual ways are telling you the same message. Jesus was telling you the same message. It's all the same message. Lao Tzu from the Tao Te Ching. Taoism is teaching you the same thing. Buddhism is teaching you the same thing. Christianity, Hebrewism, they're all teaching you the same thing. There is a way. The way is look within yourself, be a good person, be not self-serving, but be in service to others, and then contemplate that. Don't eat of the tree of life. Don't be evil. Don't be mean to people. Don't be wicked. Don't be, after power, money, fame, and hunger. Don't debauch yourself. Do things that are right. Treat people nice. Love people. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to do any of that. What you have to do is pick a lane and either be evil or be good and stay in it. and then learn what you're supposed to learn down here. Be aware that this place is trying to distract you, and don't let it. And that way of life will then unlock knowledge in you, because you'll start learning and you'll become smarter, and then they will not be able to lie to you anymore, because you won't believe them. When did you find out? I've actually an archangel, my friend, and I came here to help. I actually found out that this lifetime I came in completely unveiled. I have total memory of everything. I would be considered a Melchizedek. You guys have heard that name, Melchizedek, in the Bible. I have complete memory of everything. I remember moving into the body of my mother during conception, and moving into the soul, and growing and gestating, and being inside of her womb, and having to wait 9 months, and then going through the birth canal and all of that. I remember all of that. Okay. I came in this lifetime to be this, to come here to help. Right. But I've been here before that. I was here for a very long time. I came here, but when I'm veiled, just like you are, I have to hope that I wake up and remember that I've done that, except for in this lifetime, I came to remember from the beginning. But every other lifetime that I've been here, I was born and I grew up, and at some point I hoped that I would remember that I was here on a mission. And I didn't, it didn't always work out that way. So, are you an earth angel now? Yes, I am. I came here legally. I literally was born inside this body, the same way you were born inside your body, put into the body. And now I'm down here on earth, and I am awake, but I'm here on earth as I am up there as well, right? That might be a little confusing to you, but I am here as a fracture of myself here, and then I am also up there. So I'm working down here to give information to the world, to help wake you up, to help you remember, remind you, and reset everything, the balance, right? So let me see. When I was put under anesthesia, I saw the light and remembered how warm the light was, and loving it was. Yeah, some people do that when you have near-death experiences as well. Some people do it through meditation. Other people have to take like drugs. All right, I'm not advocating that, ayahuasca and drugs and all that stuff. But you can have those memories pop up. Right when I woke up, I was bawling my eyes out because I couldn't believe how much I loved. Yeah, it is. Oh man, I have a friend. I can contain that. But when you look there. I have a friend, her name is Jacqueline. If she was here and you just said that, she would get so emotional, she would start crying, right? What is the tree of life? The tree of life is the endocrine system of the universe. It's within you. You are the tree of life as well. Your nervous system is the tree of life. That is the root system of the tree, and your body and all of your organs are the different worlds. Like in Yggdrasil, that's the Viking word for the tree of life. If you look at my podcast, it's called Orion Rising. If you watch that podcast, the MP4 broadcast, not the MP3 one, because you can see the visuals. So if you go on YouTube or on Facebook and you play the podcast and you start it, in the first 1 minute and 30 seconds is showing you sacred geometry, and at the very end it shows you a radial image of a human brain cell and a radial image of the universe itself, and they're identical. The only difference is that as above, so below. The microcosm is your brain cell, and it's got less ganglia cells, but the universe itself has that same tree that your brain cell has. Okay, so where did the goddess who helped clarify questions go? Are you are you talking about the one that came in my room? She's out in the other room. That is my wife, and she is a goddess. Thank you very much. If that's who you're referring to, when she came in, yeah, here she is. Here, this is Brooke. She's my. Come here, baby. Show, yeah,
hi, guys.
That's my wife, Brooke. Thank you, baby. And she is absolutely beautiful, and she is a goddess. Thank you very much.
Can we kindly just ask everyone just to be patient with the questioning? Some people are getting frustrated because we can't keep up with them. So
please be patient. We'll try to get to your questions. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I'm here to help you guys, and I'll do what I can, okay? So if we missed you, please just restate it and don't get angry. Just tell my wife this is the second time I've asked this, or the third time, so she understands that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Nadine, thank you for doing that. And she'll pop them up and I'll answer them, because if I take too long answering them and they're like 10 questions, then unfortunately that happens. I apologize for that. Is there another book that you have written that you're selling? Yeah, I actually wrote the book Orion Rising as well, and there's another book that I wrote that was called How to Get Out of Debt. Those are books that are for mundane. Well, Orion Rising is about the alien ideology of what if there were really aliens here, and what if there was an intergalactic war going on that I wrote. And those things I wrote back in 2016. Didn't have a lot of money, so they're not edited properly. But there is that one that I wrote. Did you come with any special powers? I have every ability you can imagine when it comes to ESP, if that's what you're asking, right? Did I come with any special powers? I'm clairvoyant. I used to work for governments where I would help solve crimes, work with police departments solving crimes. I teach ghost hunters and things like that. So I have that kind of ability, remote viewing. I have a lot of abilities. You guys to teach that to everybody. If you guys want any ability, you can have whatever ability you want. Your focus determines your reality. Deja vu unlocked, right? Yeah. So deja vu unlocked. Deja vus are good. Having deja vu usually tells you that you're on the right path that you're supposed to be on. You start having deja vus because of that. Thank you so much. My family looked at me and thought that I was going crazy. But that's what that says, right? They're going cuckoo, cuckoo. Yeah, when you start waking up, if you start waking up and your family is still veiled and you start talking like I do, they're going to go, you're nuts. Most of my family thinks I'm crazy. But a few of them don't. One of my sisters was asked by one of our cousins, is he a wackadoodle? He's talking about channeling people and a higher self. And my youngest sister said, yeah, I thought that about 5 years ago, but no, he is not crazy. So we had a long conversation. So how does it work different? Angels are your friends, and Michael, I don't see the rest of that. For some reason, it's not giving me a thing for that. Let me look at. Yeah, I don't know. It says friends with Michael. How is that? So how does that work with different angels? Are you friends with Michael? Yes, I'm friends with all of the archangels. We're all friends. We don't hate each other because we have a job to do. So we're all buddies and we hang out, right? Johnny, at Leonard O'Neill, channeling isn't that demonic. No, it is if you're listening to the churches because they are trying to control you. So they tell you that you can't do anything. You can't spell cast. You can't have ESP. You can't have any extrasensory perception. You can't have any abilities. You can't do anything because you can only do what the church tells you, and that's the devil. So don't do it. But then you go to a church, like if you're a Roman Catholic, which I am knighted by them, you go to the church. Yeah, you were talking about Anubis. Let me get back to that. But they're stifling you so that you don't expand your consciousness, so they can keep you in this place. So talking about Anubis or other divine beings visiting our awareness, are we one? Are we one with them? All of us are one, depending on where you go. Up high enough, we're all one. We're all one consciousness. We're all one mind. So are you one of them? Is that what you're saying, right? Are we one of them? You could be. Everett, you could be. It just depends because we're all fractures of different things, right? So you actually could be a fracture of, say, Anubis or a fracture of someone else, and that's why you have this connection. Anubis could actually be a guide of yours or a family member of yours. I would have to work with you, like my wife and I would have to talk to you and find out. But yeah, you could be. You could actually be Anubis. You would just have to look into that and find out if you were Anubis or if Anubis knew you, or if you were one of Anubis's children, grandchildren, or if you were just Egyptian and you grew up in that time period. You'd have to look into that. It has something to do with your past life, though, no matter what. If you're seeing Anubis and Anubis is staring at you, giving you the eye, then Anubis is trying to remind you of something and wake you up. So if you have Anubis looking at you, then if you're not thinking that Anubis is trying to eat you, then chances are Anubis is trying to make you aware of something to expand your consciousness. It's like the UFOs. Some of the UFOs that you guys think are actually. Thank you for being patient, or you are being so patient. I'm trying to get everything out, guys. So please, Everett, ask for your other question, and we'll get to you. I'm struggling with my gifts, my family blocking me, and my chakras. Yeah, you have to clear those. You have to don't let anyone block you. You have to stop your family from doing that. And You have to work on your own. If they think you're crazy, let them think you're crazy and do your own thing, right? Yeah, if they think you're crazy, just let them think that you're crazy and do your own thing, and don't tell them what you're doing, right? If Jesus didn't marry, why are as an angel as you claim Mary? Wait, if Jesus didn't marry, why are as an angel as you claiming Mary? Are you saying Mary Magdalene? Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene. Jesus had to be married. Look at the religion. Look at the Hebrew religion at the time. Even now, if you turn 30 in that religion, you need to be married. Back then, for Jesus, as a man, had to be married if he was 30 years of age. And to be called a rabbi, he had to have been married to be able to be called rabbi, which means teacher, and teach in the synagogue. So Jesus, the person, had to have been married. Okay, so who was he married to? If you look at Roman law at the time, when someone got beat by the Romans and tortured by the Romans and had to get whipped because they did something bad, the direct family were the only people that had anything to do with it, and they had to go clean the blood up. So when Jesus got beaten by the Romans, there were only 3 people that went in to help out of all the apostles that were following him, and it was Holy Mary, his mom, Mary Magdalene, and John. So Mary Magdalene and John had to be related to Jesus, or they wouldn't have been able to go to help clean, because the Romans would have stopped them. It's not your job. Get out of here. She has to do it because she's the direct family. John was Jesus's brother, and Mary was Jesus's wife. And that was changed in the Council of Nicaea, so that you thought that Jesus was a god when he was actually the son of God. Those Egyptian deities are wonderful. I've been bested, and then say, so yeah, Christ's bloodline is on the earth. Jesus was one of my grandfathers. Well, it would have been like a great grandfather, but it's very, because it was 2,000 years ago, so I don't know how many generations that is, but it is very possible. It is very possible. Dan Brown wrote about that, right? Dan Brown said, what if what the people in that book, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, said was true, and a few other books? If it was true, there's a bloodline of Jesus that's on this planet now. Those Egyptian deities were wonderful. I've been, what's that, best stat on my team, right? Oh, I've got best stat on my team. Yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you were Egyptian in a few lifetimes, whatever you feel comfortable with when it comes to spirituality, you should, if you're drawn to it, you should look into that. Even if, say, you were born Christian, you should look into the other things, because you're going to learn from that. So, who built the pyramids? Now I need to know, right? It's getting to real consequences. The pyramids. The pyramids, some people just say that the people built the pyramids. Some people say it was aliens that built the pyramids. The pyramids were constructed. I did on my podcast, Orion Rising, I did like almost 3 years twice. So almost 5 years teaching the Law of One, which were 6 books by a group of people called the LL Research Group, who were using channeling to talk to somebody, and they talked to Ra. Okay, Ra from Egypt. And they said, we know a Ra here on earth from Egypt. Is that you? And Ra, channeling through, said, yes, I am Ra. They were a collective, hive mind, collective consciousness. We built your pyramids. We walked among your people. So you can actually watch that on my podcast, or you can buy the books of the Law of One. You can buy those books, and you can read all the channeling sessions that they did between 1981 and 1984. And Ra said, we built the pyramids. So Merlin&MAeve, I'm very interested in spirits, demons, and divinities, son of a pastor who suggested. So, we will work with you. This is what we do. I am a minister, like I said, 4 different religions. I have a priestly title in 4 different religions, and I'm a theologian. We're also, both of us are very psychic. Both of us are very ascended, and we're actually teaching courses online. We'll be teaching them on Zoom, and we work with people individually, so that if you don't want to work with other people, or you're afraid to talk in front of other people, we can work one-on-one, or 2-on-1, whatever you want. So contact, because Merlin&MAeve is our company, my wife and I's company. So contact us, and we can work with you, and we can look into all of what you want to look into. You can ask us any questions that you want, and we can go further with that. Ask some more questions. I know that we're probably not reaching all of you guys out there, and please hit those hearts for me, and share this out, and so that we can keep this going and get some more people in here, and you guys ask some questions. Right? So my dreams are abnormally vivid and consistent. That's good. Then that means you need to look into your dreams and find out what messages are in there and decode those, right? Thank you for, who was that just did that? That was Yahweh, right? Yahweh. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So yeah, you should look into. Thank you for that. You guys are doing that and joining that fan club there. And like I said, hit those hearts and let's keep this thing going and get some more people in here. But ask questions because this is what I'm here for. I'm here to answer these. I have literally come to this earth to do that, and so has my wife. We came here to help. I would love that so much someday. I haven't been able to. Let me open this up so I can read it. I haven't been able to have a teacher in person yet, only online. Well, I'm in New South Wales, so if you're in New South Wales, then you could be taught in person. But if not, we can do it online, and still we could do it through Zoom so that you could actually ask questions. Otherwise, you'll have to find somebody closer to wherever you are, right? So based on what you can remember, Jesus was a real person because science is unable to prove that. No, science has actually proved that. Jesus was a real person. I was there. Jesus was a real person. They've actually proven that. They have real empirical evidence by Romans that did not know Jesus and had no reason to write it down. And they actually wrote down that there was a man named Jesus and all the things that happened to him. And they claimed that he did these wonderful things and he was crucified at this time. There are at least three, not even to mention Caiaphas and Pilate, Pontius Pilate and Caiaphas. Not even with those two, beyond those two, there were three people that were Romans who had no reason to like Jesus. They were not Christians in any way, who wrote down the history of Jesus. So you had those five people plus all of the apostles who wrote down talking about Jesus. So there is actual empirical historical proof that Jesus was. And then you have Mary showing up in the south of France, and they started a religion there, and the people in the south of France saw her and knew that she was tangible and she was there. Was his name really Jesus? That's a translation. Jesus is a translation. His name was Yahshua. That's even not his original name in the Sanskrit. And then it was translated from that into Latin, and then it was translated to Greek, or Greek to Latin to English. So when it went from Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahshua to Yeshua is the Sanskrit, and the Greek word was Yeshuas, and so that became Latinized as Jesus, Jesus. What do you call the entity that Christians call Yahweh / God? Again, those are just names. It's like it's like Adonai. People like the Hebrews called the God Adonai. Adonai means I am. I am that I am. So Yahweh, there's that rumor that the Yahweh was the evil God and that he wasn't real, and those are just stories to confuse you into not knowing what's going on. Do we all have a guardian angels, and what can they help us with? Yes. And they can help you with everything. You have guides and you have guardians, and some of the guardians are in fact angels. Most of them are, and they are there to help you, to assist you, and they talk to you and help guide you so you don't do stupid things or you don't die and you stay on track. If you expand your consciousness and listen, you can actually talk to your guides like when you're thinking. You can actually talk to them, and you can talk to your dead relatives as well. So they help us with everything. They'll help you with just about everything. You could talk to them and even get that same information. Should I go here or should I go there? You know what I mean? So angels and archangels, explain please. Archangels were the first ones. The archangels are the ones that are managing all of this that's going on. God chose the archangels to manage the light and darkness, the good and evil. And then the angels are the people below them that are the guides and the ones who will move things around and create things and do things. And then there's the Nephilim, which is above that, and the Patal, which is above that. So you have the groups of people that were created to help create and hold this place. And then the archangels are the ones who keep the balance. Okay, they're the ones who in your minds would fight for God to keep the balance. Okay. The Holy Trinity trifecta power of three, body, self, and spirit, heart. Self is in the three. That's the Trinity is the Father in the Christian religion, in the Hebrew religion. The Christian religion is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's the Trinity. The Trinity is supposed to be the masculine, feminine, and you. The masculine and feminine being your mother, father, and then you. So the in nomine Patri Filii Spiritus Sancti. That is what in Latin it means, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. That's the Trinity. The Trinity is in all of us. Is there really three of all of us? Yes, you have the ego, you have the conscience, and you have you, the actual experiencer. So that's your Trinity. You have darkness, you have light, and you have choice. So that's the masculine, feminine energy, and then you, which balances the two of those. So that's the father, the mother, and the offspring. Yahweh was a yogi, preaching the way, yes, and meditation, though not the Jesus of the Bible. No, it's still the same. That's one of those things that's a misnomer. Yahweh or Joshua is the same name. It's just a different translation from an older language. And the translation of Jesus has been translated. You can look up that etymology on Google right now. Look up the etymology of Jesus, and it'll show you how it went from Yahweh, down to the word Jesus. You can actually Google that, and it'll show you that. It's the same person. It is the same person. It's just a different place talks about it differently. All the religions are identical. You need to realize that, my friend. The only things that are different in the religions is the way that they set it up for the control mechanism of a male-female God or a monotheistic God, but it's all the same. The semantics are what the difference are. Then you're an angel for what entity? What do you call this? I'm an angel for what entity, or for what entity? What do you call this? And then please, what is the difference between Archangel and the Anunnaki? The Anunnaki doesn't even exist. The Anunnaki is a mistranslation of the word. We talked about that last night when I was on here. It actually meant a priestess came or a priest came. It didn't mean an alien from Enki from outer space. The Anunnaki has been translated wrong, but an archangel is actually an angel of God. It is the highest angel of God, who are the people who are the ones that keep the balance in the universe the way God wants it to be, and does not allow anyone to get out of order when they try to do something crazy like what's happening down here. Who was Noah, I don't even know how to say that word, but see, that's also, Noah has been synonymous with Enoch. Again, the stories that you're getting are translations from other people, and it's the stories of the flood, and the flood is the dark night of the soul for the human condition. So you have to realize that it just depends on what religion you're talking about. For Noah or Enoch or one of those characters, they're from different religions in time, but they're telling the same story. It's kind of like Thor in the Viking pantheon is the exact same story of Jesus. Moses to the Hebrews is Jesus. He did the exact same thing. Okay, so people get annoyed and they say that it's different, but it's actually the same story. I'm curious about mask and feminine divinity, masculine and feminine divinity. The energies that we have within us that we're supposed to be balancing is the masculine and feminine. Everything is as above, so below, as within, so without. Right. So it's actually, if you look at the Bible, where that is telling is in Matthew, and it says, what you sow on earth, I shall too sow in heaven. What you reap on earth, I shall too reap in heaven. That means that it's as below, so above, as within, so without, not the other way around. The other way around is the caste system. But the masculine and feminine is the kundalini, kunda buffer energy, the ego and the conscience. And we're supposed to balance that out and use both to make better decisions for ourselves and to learn. So we're supposed to balance the light and dark. And that's also the physical plane is the masculine and the spiritual plane is the feminine. And we're supposed to balance those and learn what that does when we choose a side. The stories of Jesus was modified under Emperor Constantine, absolutely, during the First and Second Council of Nicaea. It was changed so that Jesus was a God instead of the Son of God, and Jesus was no longer a human, and he wasn't married, and he didn't have children, and none of that mattered because he was supposed to be this Godhead that they were using to control people. You're absolutely right. Constantine in the 200 to 300 years in that time period of 290 to 330 changed the Bible and took all those stories out. Are demons really bad entities like we've been told? I heard that they can be guardians. Demons are the dark aspect, and usually the demons are angels and archangels. You guys don't want to hear this. That are just like, full on into there's a war between good and evil going on. They're the balance in the universe. So the dark energies and the light energies, that if you mess with dark energies, they're going to do bad things. If you mess with light energies, they're going to do good things. It's a personification, as within, so without. It's a personification of all the negative energy to represent that in the universe, and the all positive energy to represent that in the universe. So it becomes, if you're messing with it, you got to be careful what you're doing. Has a child thought I was curious, like Jesus, because I have similar scars on my hands and feet? If you have that stuff, it's a stigmata, and usually people who have the stigmata, sometimes you have the people who have stigmata actually have the open wounds, right? That would appear on their body, and sometimes they just have the scars. Usually, that's something that you have done when you came into this life because you wanted to remind yourself that you have dedicated yourself to that person in some very serious way. You also may have been there during that time and been a follower of Jesus. You should look into that. Do we have gender then, or are we both? Your immortal soul does not have gender at all. Your immortal soul is gender neutral. The creator of the universe is gender neutral. That was the gender neutral. That's what was in the Dead Sea Scrolls that they took out. They didn't want you to know that the creator was actually gender neutral because they were trying to force the feminine out of everybody so they could just keep the masculine warlike and keep everybody in a warlike state. That's how you got stuck. They pulled away all the femininity. They pulled away the idea that God wasn't a male. So because of male dominated societies are warlike. Okay. So is April 1st Jesus' real birthday? No. We'll go over that. So, and if so, what is it supposed to represent? No, April 1st was the cycle of life coming back. It was springtime. But if you look at the Smith's Dictionary of the Bible, which is the one that almost every single religion on the face of the earth agrees is the most comprehensive, in-depth study and research of all religions around the world to get the information in there. Jesus' conception date was actually in December, and so was Mary, his mother's. Between the 11th and the 17th, so 9 months later, Jesus would have been born. So he was born in September somewhere. He had to have been born somewhere between the 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th of September, not December 25th. That's actual doctrine. You can look that up. I was just studying that a couple of times with my brother, who's also a minister who's in a theological college. What do you do when dark sides are coming for you? Well, then you greet them with the love and the light of the infinite creator. And if you're not evil, then they won't be able to touch you. You are ripping off as above, so below. No, the actual, if you look up, if you have a Bible at your house, a Christian Bible, open it up and go to Matthew, right? And go to Matthew 3:16 and read what Matthew 3:16 says. And God says, what you sow on the earth, I shall too sow in heaven. What you reap on the earth, I shall too reap in heaven. That's where that whole saying comes from. And that is the only place where that is printed. And that says, as below, so above. As within you, so without. Okay? So that I'm not ripping off as above, so below. That is the corruption that has been told to you to tell you there's a caste system and that there's a God and you're beneath that and you're nothing. And that what God does, you have to do. That is the caste system corruption that has been told to you to control you here on earth. The actual Bible says the opposite. God said to you, what you do on earth, I will do in heaven. Okay? And what you think of, I will think of, and what you reap, I will reap. So it's your choice. You're free. You're the one who's in control. Read that. It's in Matthew. I'm a minister, and you're telling me that I'm saying something that is contrary to the actual thing. That as above, so below, and as without, so within is the corruption that they're lying to you so that you think that you're worthless and that you're useless. That's what they're trying to get you to think. That's also is nowhere near accurate description of an angel. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. Angels. So you have a different idea of what an angel is. Angels are angelic beings that were created by God for a purpose of doing something. I think you're thinking like you're probably a Christian or something like that, and you're going by an angel has wings and they glow and what do? They just do angel things, right? Oh, come on, bro, look that up. Look up what the angels are in every religion. They're slightly different, but angels are beings that their job is to uphold the balance in the universe for the Creator. Do you remember anything about the 72 demons of what is that? Goethi? I don't know how to say that word. The ancient gods. See, you have to realize that each planet has the ability to create their own religions, and people start making up stories about different things. You have to realize that they're all parables. All the stories are parables. It's like the creation stories of most religions say that there was some giant that was killed, and this is where you guys get the idea that we are on a flat planed earth, because the dome of the sky, because they didn't understand anything back then, the dome of the sky was from their skull. So if you believe that the earth is flat, you also have to believe that the sky itself is a skull of a big giant that you're living inside of, right? No, I'm a pantheist, polytheist, Satanist. Oh, okay. So you're with that satanic. You're a Satanist. I love you guys because you guys have just taken. You guys just looked at the top 3 religions and said we're the opposite of what they are. You guys couldn't even create your own real religion. You're a Satanist. You created Satan. And Satan is Baphomet, borrowed from one religion, and then you borrowed the Saturn worship and used the Satan, and you combined that, and you took the cross that Jesus was born on and flipped it upside down and made it yours. You took the pentacle from the Wiccans and the Druids and turned it upside down and put a goat head of Baphomet in there and said that it was evil. Your religion is made up. It's okay. You can be evil. You can have that religion. Satan doesn't exist. I am Samael. I am who you're trying to describe as your God, Satan. Okay? You guys should not call yourself Satanists. You should just call yourself Samaelists is what you should be doing. And you should be worshiping me, not some made up name and some made up God. Do it right. Don't do it half-assed. Can't you explain about the number 11, 22, 33, 43? Ascended master numbers. And 44 is not an ascended master number. It's 11, 22, and 33. Your life number determines your life perspective in the number, and it's actually kind of an archetype for you, that the date that you were born, the moment you were born, the hour that you were born, the month that you were born. If you calculate that, if you go online now, they take away the 11, 22, and 33, and they use the Pythagoras and go 11 is a 2, 22 is a 4, and 33 is a 6, because they don't want you knowing about the ascended master numbers. Ascended master numbers are people that have come here to help, that are in fact ascended masters who have come back down to earth to help, and you were born under that sign. You're born under that so that you would wake up and remember that. Demons serve God too. Yes, they absolutely do. Everything serves God. I'm not denying that. I am Samael. I am the demon god. I am an archangel. And you guys only think in depending on the religion, that I was just an angel who fell because you think there was some war that we started in heaven. Can you clarify why the beings of death would say that they keep balance and that they live in the nothing? Yes, because light and darkness. So people who live in darkness are living away from the light. So they are living in shadows. They are living in nothingness, because nothingness has no light. There is no light there. So it is darkness. So those beings also serve the all. They serve the God. They serve the one. They serve everybody. It's the yin and the yang. It's the Vesica Pisces. It is a perfect balance of order into the chaos. Chaos orders non-chaos. Order balances chaos. So you can't have darkness without light, or you can't have light without dark. You can't have life without death. You can't have war without peace. You can't have love without hate. It doesn't work that way. So you have to have those things. Those things balance each other, and they balance the universe. And you're listening to the churches, and they're telling you there's a war between the good and evil, and that the devil is equal to God, and they're sitting on mountaintops, and that's just not true. The war that's going on between good and evil is going on between you, inside you. That's where you're supposed to look, right? So the Hell's Angels, right? Yeah, my uncle was actually a Hell's Angel in real life. Believe it or not, he was actually a Hell's Angel in real life. And some of my best friends were Hell's Angels. And those guys, most of the time are helping people, doing things, right? So you have to look at that, right? That's funny, the Hell's Angels. Yeah, so, but, oh, okay. I don't know why it's doing that. You have to refresh your screen when it does that. Sorry, my wife is saying that it's not letting her pin again. I'll drop the pin then. I was going to say I'll drop the pin and then see if you can then repin, but you dropped it. Yeah, you'll have to refresh your screen and then come back in, and maybe it'll let you do it. I don't know why, right? So our beliefs are older than Christianity. I'm not part of the satanic religion doesn't go back before Christianity, bro. You can look it up. I know that because I know a satanic priest and I've known him for 30 years. Your religion isn't that old. You were not around before Christianity. I'm sorry that you're trying to say that, but you can believe that if you like, but your religion doesn't go back that far. Your religion was created in the 19th century in the United States of America, so your religion isn't that old. Okay. Random question. Maybe, but there's no random questions, right? Random question, maybe, but my mom reversed. Wait, my mom. The Reverend has brought up meeting Hell's Angels, right? So, yeah. Well, I mean, she might be talking about Hell's Angels and not the people on Earth. She might be talking about meeting Hell's Angels, meaning dark entities that she was meeting and talking about that. That could be what she's talking about, right? Can we pray and summon Samael the same way that we pray to be with Michael or Raphael? Yes, there is no difference. You just have to be careful when you start summoning somebody that might be dark, because you have to remember that everybody has an agenda and they all have their own free will. So if you're going to summon darkness, be careful what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing and you summon something that's stronger than you, it's going to freak you out, scare you, and do some shit, and it's going to freak you out and make you probably do dumb things to yourself. So you want to not dabble with darkness if you're not dark, and don't dabble with light if you are dark. What about a 3-digit number? My ex had a 3-digit number. She ended up being a convert narcissist. Are you talking about the life path number, having a 3-digit number? You can't have a 3-digit number unless you've calculated your life path the wrong way. So I'm not sure what you're saying, because if you actually calculate your life path, they want to take it down to a single digit as much as possible. So they will actually do that. Nowadays, they won't give you 11, 22, or 33. Isn't that the great duality? Yes, it is. The great duality is masculine and feminine energy. That's the Kundalini, Kunda buffer energy. That's the Celtic knotwork. That is the fight within you, good and evil. The evil being your ego and the goodness being your conscience. That is the great duality that is in the world, right? Howdy, what's up, brother? Right? So, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Hit those hearts, guys. Whoops, over here. We're going off the camera. Hit those hearts and like this and share it out to people. So, yeah. So the great duality is the duality. What they would call back in history the duality of man. Whenever they use that term, I don't like when they use that term. Back in the day, that term meant the human race. But today that's a term that people kind of get annoyed with, right? You have no idea what you're talking about, Jedi Ghoul. Okay, that's your opinion, bro. Whatever, dude. You can believe whatever you want. You don't have to believe me. So, yeah, I know you're saying Jedi. Your name's Jedi Ghoul. I'm actually a Jedi Master. You can look me up in the New Zealand Jedi Temple in New Zealand. I'm a Jedi Master. So I don't know if you're a part of that, but you can look me up over there. But yeah, I mean, you can say that I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But I do. you can believe whatever you want, bro. So can you explain about the canonic melanated, what is that? Bloodlines? The bloodlines and why have they been suppressed? Oh, okay. So yes, you're talking about well, the bloodline. The reason you have people that are different alien species that are here. You also have people like I'm type O negative, and the type O negative DNA has only been here 10,000 years. It has not been here. They can't find it in history before that, and they can't explain how it got here. There's other bloodlines that they don't want you to know about, like they didn't want anybody finding the elongated skulls and testing them, because then they would find out they were not from this earth, and they have done that now. So there's these other bloodlines that are out there that they don't want anybody to see, because they don't want anybody knowing there's anything existing before 12,000 years ago here, because they're eradicating the history. They're eradicating your knowledge that you might expand your consciousness. That's how they're keeping you stuck. They're controlling the knowledge, and they're keeping you from anything that will expand your consciousness, including DNA, bloodlines, and the possibility that there are people here that are from another place. They don't want you to know any of that, because they're trying to keep you here and tell you there's nothing but this place. Is the square and the compass in the Freemason symbology of the duality of feminine and masculine? Yes. Yes, it is. It's also other things, but it is that. It does mean that. It means other things as well. But it's about all of that. Everything is symbolic in a way that people don't realize, and it's right before your eyes. And if you learn that, if you ask a Freemason what it means, they'll explain that to you. It's the same exact thing. It's happening all over the world. It's in everything. It's in all the religions. Even the symbols that people use for their company names usually are symbolic. It's crazy but you don't see it. It's right in front of our eyes, but we don't see it. What does EON mean with the number 44,022? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, unless you're referring to the human DNA. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. But most things like our DNA are numbers, and when you take numbers and you make them into letters, and then you take the letters. So if you do the mathematics of our DNA, and our DNA comes up with, like you have binary code, ones and zeros and ones. When you do the mathematical code of the human DNA, and it comes up with the numbers, if you take those numbers and you translate those numbers into different things like Aramaic and Sanskrit and things like that, back then, all of the numbers meant letters. And so when you take the human DNA and the numbers, that is the mathematical equation of the human DNA, and transfer it into the letters, give them the letter designation, your DNA says, I am God in flesh. I am. The I am that we were talking about earlier. So literally your DNA says, I am God in flesh. I am God on earth. I am God on earth. I am God on earth. So your DNA is trying to tell us that. This is true. You can look it up. I'm not making this stuff up. This is actual stuff that they've researched, that's all over the internet, that's not fake. So that's scary when you think about that. The Roman Catholics have all the knowledge that they have stolen into the Vatican. I think you're right about that. I think you're right about that. I don't know for certain, because I haven't been there, my friend, but there is evidence that when Julius Caesar burnt the Library of Alexandria, that the Library of Alexandria was just, stuff that was inconsequential, and all the real truth got hauled off the Rome before that. But I don't know the true answer to that, because I wasn't there when they did that, Rome. I've been telling people, Beansoup, I've been telling people that we are gods for so long. We are actually the gods. We are all the creator of the universe. What you think is happening is not happening. This is an illusion. This is only thinks that is happening. And truly, when you go up high enough, you and I aren't actually happening. We're a fracture. This is all happening inside the mind of the creator. And we just think that we're real, and we think that this is real, and we think that we have ideas, and we think that we're arguing with each other, and we think that we're having experiences, and this is just a daydream for the creator, and we're all just playing that out. Do certain types of medicine allow communication with voices? It depends on the medicine, right? Communication with voices and angels. Again, I have to say that all the information that I'm talking about is for entertainment purposes only. TikTok, AI bots. But there are some things out there that theoretically, if you took psilocybin and DMT and things like that, those things that are out there in the world that you can consume theoretically will take you to the center of the universe and see God if you consume it in the right ways at the right time. But I'm not abdicating that anyone do that, because I am not, in fact, a doctor, and I don't want to get kicked off the air. Is there a library underneath the Sphinx? I think there might have been. There was supposed to be information there that was unlocked, but if it was, they've already gotten it, right? But there are libraries that still haven't been found. Like they still haven't united all the crystal skulls yet to unlock that. There are other libraries. I think there was one there, and I think they went and found it, and I think that's why they were doing that ground penetrating radar earlier in the year, or was that last year? In this reality, it was earlier this year, right? It wasn't last year. This is the reality where it was this year. Yeah, it was earlier this year when they had that weird stuff and everybody thought there was stuff there. That's possible that there is stuff down there, but from what the guys said, that most of that stuff was just echoes anyway. So you're an angel for God. Do you believe he is spiritually the same for all religions? God is, there is only one creator of the universe. I hate to use the terms where people are fighting over, like the Christians, there is only one God and Jesus is his prophet, or there is only one God and Muhammad is his prophet, let's kill each other. There is only one creator of the universe, and all of us are actually part of that creation of the universe. Is that what you're asking? Let me check it again. Do you believe he well, it's not a he, it's a they, because God is actually androgynous. There is no sex when you're in your spirit. Your spirit doesn't have a sex either. It's only when you become a person do you get separated into sex. Do you think that there might have been I think there might have been I think there was supposed to be Rh negative, only occurs in nature if it's and then there's nothing below that. Rh negative means that there's no monkey in the person. They're not from Africa. They don't have any African DNA. They did not evolve from a primate. Okay, so there is 10% of the population of this planet. I'm a Rh negative. I'm a type O negative. So is my wife. We have the Rh negative factor DNA. There's many of us around the world that have that. We did not come from here. The physical body that is here that has this isn't indigenous to here, because they don't have any primate DNA. So that means that the whole theory that aliens came down here and implanted the DNA into a primate only works if everybody has that primate DNA. I don't have any primate DNA, so my DNA is not from here. It's from somewhere else. Or it evolved separate from the primate, and it didn't evolve as a primate because I don't have any primate DNA. And anybody who has the negative factor, Rh negative factor in their blood, it doesn't have any primate DNA. God is, if it is a hybrid, it's not a hybrid. If it is a hybrid, I guess it depends on your determination of that, right? If it is, it's not a hybrid, it's androgynous. Hybrid is something that was blended on purpose for something. The creator is just not masculine or feminine. How is the world an illusion? That's actually a really good question. I like Bean Soup. I like you, Bean. I loved your question you had last night too. If there is an illusion, then why is this? What's the question here? World so important? That is one of the greatest questions. We wait for you guys to have that question. That's a great question. I'm going to pause for a moment so you guys can ponder that question that Bean Soup just asked, and then I'm going to answer that. And my wife is clapping her hands. Right? That question: the creator of the universe is immortal. The creator of the universe doesn't understand what it means to be alive or to be dead. The creator is just alive and is created. So the creator of the universe created this place and occupied it with parts of itself to not know that you're the creator, so that you could actually have an organic experience of life, death, and everything in between. This place is so important because the creator of the universe is literally becoming self-aware in this place, because we are becoming self-aware in this place. So the creator created this place and is actually becoming self-aware as a being in this place, because we are all becoming aware of ourselves in this place. Why does it matter that we ascend? because the creator wants to know, what are the scenarios that made me the creator? Where did I come from? The creator has always been. So the creator is imagining, what would it be like to go from nothing, and how would you ascend back to the creator? But the creator doesn't want to just take one way, because the creator says it could be any possible way. So the creator's trying to come up with every possible way to go from nothingness to the creator. And that's what we're doing. So it's very vital that we continue going all the way back to the creator, and then start over and keep doing that over and over and over and over until the creator says, okay, I'm done with that scenario. It sounds crazy, right? So crazy. He's becoming self-aware through us. Yes, we are becoming self-aware through him, as he is becoming self-aware through us, because we are not in the universe. The universe is in us. That'll freak you out for a minute. Okay, we're not in the universe. You're not in the universe. The universe is in you. I am not in the universe. The universe is in me. I am the universe. You are the universe. I am God. You are God. I am the creator. You are the creator. This wall behind me is the creator. This is the creator. All of this is the creator. None of this is real. We're all pretending that this is real. Divine playground. Yes, Everett. That's truly, we can do whatever we want here. And we like this form. 24% of the universe is humanoid, bipedal, because we can play with it and grow hair and shave our heads and tattoo ourselves and pierce ourselves and change colors and be polka dotted like I am, right? Are the Samaritan tablets fake? No, they are not. They are not fake. They are real. They're not fake. They haven't been translated properly, and the ancient aliens people are using the wrongful translation to make a fuck ton of money off of it. I'm friends with all of them, so don't think that I'm throwing rocks at them. I wrote a book about it, about ancient aliens, and I've created Ancient Aliens Worldwide, the group on Facebook that has over 300,000 members. Right? But they're not trying to give you disclosure. They're not trying to give you anything. They're just trying to keep you on the hook so you keep watching their shows, because Disney's making money off of it. But the Samaritan tablets, the tablets from the Sumerians, are real. Those are real. They're not fake. They are real. And they have translated them, and they're still trying to translate them. They're just scrolls telling that, right? But nothing is real. You just said, oh, well, okay, from that strictest sense of outside of reality, none of this is real, right? so it's confusing, because your focus determines your reality. So is all of this scenario real down here to us? This place isn't happening. It just thinks it's happening. So this place isn't real, but it thinks it's real. So when you're here, if you focus on the here and the now, you believe this place is real. If you live in the physical, if you then ascend to your spirit body, you realize this place isn't real. And then you move up in your ascension. Okay, and then there's other things that you have to learn on your way back to the creator. It's really blow your freaking mind crazy when you do that. None of this matters, but it matters. People, when they learn that, they go into the hermit, right? But the creator is all-knowing. The creator isn't all-knowing. I hate to break your little bubble. Why is creating us an experience expected? So if the creator was all-knowing, there'd be no reason for this scenario. The creator isn't all-knowing, because the creator has imagined, wait, I know everything because I created everything, but how did I get here? What would it be like to die? And so that's what's happening here. My brother passed away, and his spirit seems to be stuck in his room. Is there a way to help him? Yeah, he's not actually stuck there. He's staying there because he's with you, or he might be stuck. Yes, what you can do is make contact with him if you have abilities. If you know he's stuck in the room, then you have abilities. Help him. Talk to him and help him cross over. That's the best way of helping your brother, is to talk to him and help him. He might be just trying to stay to give you a message. He might be trying to stay to be your guide. That happens sometimes, but he may not realize that he's dead. So you have to help him and help him cross over. That's all you have to do, is just is explain to him, and then let him figure out what he's doing, and then help him cross over. Sometimes that happens when they believe that they need to run away from the light, or run away from the angel of death, over there, the angel of death, and not go with the angel of death. Then they're walking around and they're kind of disembodied and stuck. Universe created chaos. Yes. So the universe can experience itself in itself, and as different destinies. Yes, absolutely, and different densities. Yes, that's exactly it. The creator created chaos because people knew that they were the creator and they weren't getting anywhere anytime fast. So the creator had to give the veiling and create chaos to push us through. Is moving up in the ascension kundalini. Do you guys show us how to do that? Kundalini is just the masculine energy. There's two energies there in that kundalini fire. One is kundalini, that's masculine, and one is kunda buffer, that's the feminine. That's the Celtic knot work. That's the balance, the yin and the yang from the Asians talk about, the Vesica Pisces. That's the duality, masculine and feminine. Kundalini is masculine, kunda buffer is feminine. But yes, you can learn that in Taoism, you definitely Buddhism. You can learn that in just about any religion. Jesus even talked about it. The Greeks talked about it. They called the chakras a spindle wheel. That was in the Bible, the wheel within wheels. That's the chakra centers, the chakra centers. You can learn about that, but we also teach it. So yeah, if you want, you can contact Brooke and myself because we're going to be doing classes going forward this coming. Now that we're in the holiday season, as we're getting out of December to January, we're going to be setting up classes for people to teach all of this. Because everybody, it's out there. You can read about it yourself. But if you want to be in a classroom thing, right? Can you explain timelines and how they work? Oh, there's a good one, man. Bean Soup, I love you. You have greatest questions. You're so awake. You're asking all the right questions. Timelines are distortions in reality, and they're created by different things that happen, different events that happen, right? Everything that you can imagine happening creates a new timeline, creates a scenario. The creator is so freaking intense and complicated that the creator can have like a billion trillion things going on at the same time. But the timelines that I think you're referring to is the timelines down here when there's shifts in the timeline, like the Mandela effects. When the bad guys got here, the way things work is if you come down to a place, you have access to the past, the present, and the future. Because when you're outside of this place in the higher realms, there is no time. Time only exists in the first, second, and third dimension, the way that you know it. The fourth dimension, time gets diluted. In the fifth dimension, it starts getting diluted further. By the time you get through the sixth dimension, there is no time. You are in your light body, and time is only the distance it takes for the physical body to go from one place to another. So down here, when the bad guys got here with their information, they rewrote some of history. They changed things in the past. And when they took control of things in the past, that changed things in the future. Okay, so when you take a ship that's going on course here and you move it 1 degree in 100 years, that thing's going to be way off course. In 5 minutes, it's only going to be off course a little bit. So they came down here and took control down here and did some horrible things, and it changed the timeline. Then we got here and we're fixing things, and that's fixing the timeline. So you're seeing time distortions as you're shifting into a new timeline. You'll have a memory that they call the Mandela effect. So those are part of. There's a thing called the temporal war that's going on between light and darkness, and the forces of light and darkness in the third, fourth, fifth dimension, and that is a war throughout dimensionality and time. So you have different phases of realities and different timelines in those realities, and people are aware of that in these planes that are third, fourth, and fifth density, third, fourth, and fifth dimension, and they're utilizing cross sections to do different things, and it bleeds over into the timelines, and people are shifting things on purpose to create things that they want, and then there's people on the other side that are shifting them back, and that's the war that you think of that's going on between good and evil. Right, I used to collect and deliver the dead. Yeah, okay, that's a job. I know 2 people that actually do that, and they're actually the people that you bring the dead bodies to, who burn them, or the ones who fix the bodies up and get it ready for display. I actually know 2 guys personally that do that currently, and you guys are special people that can just go pick up dead bodies and move them around. I wouldn't want to do it for a living, but I would if that's what my job was, right? I am the angel of death, Russell. I am the angel of death. I am Samael. But we all are the angel of death, and we all are God. So, it depends on your perspective, right? Your focus determines your reality. Are the shifts in the timelines caused by your choices or others? as of the collective consciousness. The shift in the timeline is being done by collective consciousness as the human condition is moving back towards the light. We're actually fixing the timeline by shifting the energy lines of the earth as it's righting itself, but it's righting itself only with the human condition changing. So they took the human condition and made you fall further into darkness so that you got stuck. And now we're helping you guys remember what you're supposed to know to change your ways back to where you were. So as you're getting smarter, you're not falling for their tricks anymore or believing them. And that is changing the consciousness of this earth. And in doing that, it's shifting the timelines. So it's sort of a little bit about both, because we're helping. We came here and we're aware of it. If you remember, those of you out there listening to my voice, if you remember the shifts in those Mandela effects and you remember both of those memories, you're like, I remember when it was like that. Now it's different. You too were actually one of the people who came here to help. And that's why you remember both timelines. Okay. If you don't, you're going to be one of those people that go, you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's always been that way, bro. You guys are just stupid. You guys are, because that person is not somebody who is awake enough to perceive the timeline shifts. Right, so they're more than bodies to you. I like that you have that. You see them differently than just they're just a body, and I'm just transporting it and going over there. You're seeing it as probably as an avatar, and somebody was sacred to somebody, and they used it. And the family loves the person that was in that. I love you for doing that. If that's truly what you're doing. Has CERN opened portals to 6 different dimensions? And was that the result of the Higgs boson particle? Yes and yes. And yes, for the Higgs boson, that's what happened on Atlantis when they cracked all the crystals here on Earth and flipped the Earth over on its axis during that civil war, and they're still messing around with that stuff. They have opened up some portals, but they don't know what they're doing. They're not the ones that are creating the timeline shifts that they wish they were. They're scared to death. They're thinking that some other government's doing it secretly, and each one's thinking that about the other ones, but they're not the ones that are doing it. We're actually doing that and rewriting history. And some of them that are in the high know that, and they're trying to figure out why they can't do it, right? But they are messing with the Higgs boson. You're absolutely right. They're starting to figure that information out. The fact that they've discovered fractals shows you that they're having a good look at that in physics. Do you remember choosing your parents? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I chose my parents for the reasons that I chose them, so that I would have the DNA that I have, so that I would be balanced. I would be born to the 2 families that I was born to, so that I would have all the attributes that I have, so that I would have the mother and the father to raise me. And my father was also awake. So when I came through to be awake, my father was awake enough to know that I was awake and to warn me not to be stupid and tell people until I was an adult that I was awake, right? The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. And then he's the one who was also a Merlin. So he then was able to train me, and it gave me 19 years of his life to train me as a Merlin, to give me that title. So I chose my father because he is also an archangel, and he came down here to also help and to make sure that he helped train me and keep me safe from people that were trying to get me or mess with me until I was able to take care of myself and then give me this title. Peace, love, and light to you, and it's yours. Stay dangerous, God, right? Yeah. Yeah, so, right, peace, love, and light. I greet you with the light of the infinite creator. So literally, yes, you have to realize that you did the same thing. You just don't have the memory of doing it. Why did I choose my parents? I want to know. You chose them so that you would be exactly who you are, to be born where, when you were, to be born the sex that you were born, to have the name that you have. All of that was done for a reason, so that you could become exactly who it is that you're becoming. If you look into your charts and find out where your life path number is, and find out what attributes your parents gave you and what lessons they were teaching you, even if like your mom or dad was an alcoholic or mean or not, and they were teaching you actually had them because they were molding you to help you become who you are, either by hook or crook. So they were either, you chose them so that they would give you a hard life and beat you and treat you, or because they were the really good parents that loved you, or somewhere in between. You just have to look at that. My father, you guys know who that was. So yeah, I don't want to talk about that right now on air. There's a lot that we're not allowing for everybody to know about right now, but that will come out in the future, where the lineage will come out a little bit more. But he was a Merlin. So my father was a Merlin on this earth, and he taught me that and gave me the Merlin title. He was a druid priest. So and yeah, and he was a war hero. Yeah, he actually was fought in the Second World War for the United States government, and was decorated soldier for the United States. So and then beyond that, if you go off Earth, there was also a lot of that. So, but yeah, some of the stuff from the future you guys will hear, right? Hi from Ireland. Welcome, Hugo. I have friends in Ireland. I used to work for the Irish government, not under this name though, but I used to work for the Irish government. So welcome, brother. Aaron go bra. What part of Ireland? Now you might be in the north, and you might be getting mad at me because I just said that. I should have asked what part you were in Ireland before I said Aaron go bra, my friend. Right? Belfast. You know what I'm talking about, brother. That's where it started, right? So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't. Yeah. So yeah, welcome, brother. Yeah, I have some friends that are in Ireland. A couple of friends that are in Ireland. Peter Coyle, Pete Star TV. You might know him if you know anything about providers over there. And Dave, I can't remember David's last name right now. He's a musician. They're both friends over there, right? Sex versus gender. You mean sex versus gender, right? Is that what you're saying there with the SAX? It's supposed to be sex versus gender. So. So you're talking about the condition where the difference is. That's part of the same thing that's happened, like with schizophrenia, that because we've been stuck so long and we keep reoccurring and we keep coming in, right? Then we start having variations of what's going on. What's happening is we're getting confused, and when you come in, sometimes you choose to be a different gender, and the reason for that is that you come through and you've been here so many times that you're like, what gender am I supposed to be? So you default to the one that you've been mostly, and sometimes you would come in and you would have a female body, but you've been a man more times than not, and so now you've come through as a man in a female body, or vice versa. That's the same thing with schizophrenia, where people hear voices. Those are different lifetimes bleeding over. I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking about. More on the Merlin, please. Often timeline jumper, right? Yes, Merlin did. He was going backwards in time compared to Arthur during that time period. Yes, the Merlins move in a different way. There's some weird stuff. I could tell you some stories of jumping over time and moving through time, where friends of mine actually witnessed me doing something like that. Like, I was driving down the street one day and I was on my way home, and my friends were going to meet me at my house, and they happened to pull out from their house onto the main thoroughfare, and there I was, and they saw me in their rearview mirror, and we stopped at a stoplight, and when the light turned green, I drove around the corner and went, that's where they're not here, and I drove home. I didn't drive fast. I didn't take a special way. I just drove home. I got home, but they weren't there, and I thought, well, they were ahead of me. Okay, whatever, I'll park. Maybe they went to the store and they're on their way here. Went in the house, changed my clothes, came back out, lit a cigarette. This was like 20 years ago. I used to smoke back then. Lit a cigarette, was standing there waiting for them, and about 10 minutes later, they came driving in and looked at me like, what the heck? And they came around and they pulled up and they said, how did you get here already? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Remember at that stoplight when I waved at you guys waved at me. When the light turned green, I went around the corner. Well, what had happened was I shifted because I was in a hurry, and I didn't realize they did it. And I actually went into a different timeline, and I drove home and got to my house 10 minutes before they got there, and they were ahead of me. And I was changed my clothes and was smoking, and they drove and didn't go anywhere out of the ordinary and drove regular. And I had shifted over that timeline and got there 10 minutes earlier than they did, and no one saw me do it, and I was just there. So sometimes we do stupid things on accident. We don't mean to do that. It is every different life of yours just a different vibration, and frequency set up by your choices? Yes, yours is too. Every single life that you have is just a different vibration and frequency that is set up by you. It's a different distortion that you design so that you can have a different, you continue your learning, but you're learning something different and you don't want to be the exact same thing, because history never repeats itself, but it echoes. When people say history repeats itself, it echoes. It's never exactly the same. What's the spiritual situation with someone who has schizophrenia? My dad, you didn't know that, right? My dad had that. People who have schizophrenia, now remember, I'm not a doctor, and all this information is for entertainment purposes so that I don't get kicked off of TikTok. With that said, remember, this is all entertainment purposes. People who have schizophrenia, it's because they've been stuck here for a long time, and when they come in, they're having bleed overs from the personalities that they are from different time zones, from different lives in different times in the past, and they're actually hearing the voice and communicating with a person that they actually are. So they've accidentally skipped, and they're attached still without the veiling. The veiling didn't grab a hold of them, and they're actually communicating with and having conversations with themselves, their other personality that they were in a different time. And sometimes they were evil, and so there's one that's a nasty evil one, and then there's one that's really good and nice. And the ego loves that. It'll take a hold of that, and it'll continue to personify that. Right. And so that once and I've worked with people with that, and I tell them, once you actually start to ascend and realize your higher self, and that you were all these other people, then at some point, like your ego, you can actually say to the ego, I'm not listening to you anymore. And the ego will keep talking to you, and you'll go, yes, shh, and you'll move on what you're doing. The same thing happens with those people. They'll keep talking to you, and you go, look, I'm not listening to you because you're somebody that was dead in 1865. Okay. So you were just alive in 1865. I'm alive now. So you're me then. So just stop. Okay. And eventually you'll separate, because you'll start to move into your higher self. And when you move into your higher self, I am, therefore I think, then the ego and the thinking mind can't reach you. With the other past lives, you'll be able to just tap into them whenever you want, because you'll go to the Akashic record and you'll be able to just move into them from that place. And so then they stop talking to you, because they realize they are you and you are them. So they stop talking to you in this particular life. I can jump forward in my head, though. Yes, you can. You can only jump forward in your head. Well, you're one of the first people that I've known that is only able to jump into lives you haven't been yet. You have to remember that there is no time for your higher self. Everything is now. So from your higher self perspective, if you move into there, all those lives are happening right now. Okay. So if you're only jumping into the forward ones, that's okay. Right. That's annoying too. But so you're the one that's in the past according to them. And they're like, you're in my head, man, get out of my head. Right. It's normal. You just have to find your higher self and realize that you don't have a higher soul. You are the higher soul. And once you move into that and equate that, that's when you move away from that conversational stuff. What is your take on remote viewing? We talked about this last night too. Remote viewing is a thing, and that is somebody that is leaving astrally. That is astral projection, and they're leaving their body, and their spirit, their soul, is moving to another place. And you can move without. You don't have to have time to do that. You just focus on that, and depending on your skills, I'm a Merlin, so I have shamanistic abilities. I astral project as well. So you do that, and you remote view. You can go to places, see things, talk to people. Sometimes you can interact and move things in there. So that's why the governments are really excited with that, because proprietarily you could sneak into a military base and see secrets from other countries. And so that's what they want to learn that for, because they want to turn it into a weapon. And use that to their advantage to make more money, to steal property, to go and see if you can assassinate somebody. And because the courts in the world don't acknowledge magic, and so because magic isn't real, if you were an assassin and you can go somewhere and kill them with your mind, then you're the perfect assassin. What is that like? Like, why is it worth it to specify separately? Are you talking about individuality, or I'm not quite sure what you're meaning there? Why to specify individuality? Are you saying that if you're schizophrenic, why do you have to be an individual? You don't. You can do whatever you like. If you like talking to yourself from different timelines, do it. Just Just don't listen to if there's an evil one that tells you killing people, just don't do that. Tell that evil one you got to do that in your own time. But if in different times, if you go back far enough, people who were schizophrenic who could talk to people in the future were oracles because they could tell what was happening in the future or the past, right? So it just depends on, right? Can you use, what was that other one? No, why is someone present as trains? No, why would someone present as trains or trans? Oh, they do that because they're confused, buddy. They do that because they're not sure what it is that they're supposed to be coming in. But like the ones that get real flamboyant and do that, they're doing that because it's fun. They're doing the big hair and the makeup and all of that because it's fun. But yeah, when they come in and they present as a different, it's because they were confused when they were being born and they've defaulted to the masculine or feminine that they were mostly because they've been here so long that they're really tired and they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing and they're like, fuck, what am I? Am I a man or a woman? I don't remember. And so they just default to the one that they're more comfortable with. And sometimes they get it right. And you come in and you're a man and you're in a man's body. And sometimes you come in, you're a woman, you're a woman's body. Other times you think that because you've been a man a whole bunch of times, I should be a man. And then you come in, you're in a female body and you go, shit, what do I do now? You either hide from society because you're afraid that they're going to stone you to death because that happened in the past, right? Or these days that, they do that, right? And then people get mad and they're like, it's against God, and all of that. I mean, if you want to choose to go down that road, then you could do that, right? Can you use it to get money? Well, see, there's where you have a karmic problem with the universe itself, right? The way things are set up here, this is why you hear that 3 times 3 thing. The way things are set up is if you're self-serving and you do self-serving things, right? Then there's a karmic wheel. So in the pagan druid pantheon, it's do what thou wilt, but harm none. So free will would dictate that you can't use psychic abilities to gain knowledge, to gain money. There's a price to pay for that. You can do it if you're self-serving. You can do it. But there's a price to pay for that, okay? It's not free because this place is set up to where it's kind of discouraged, but you can do it, right? So that's why usually people that are self-serving get other people who can remote view to do it for them. So the consequences and the karma goes on to them, and they do that. So when I'm a spell caster and a spell writer, so if someone wants me to write a spell, I will write that spell, whatever it is that they're doing. But if they're self-serving and I see that, I will tell them that I'm not going to write this for you. And if I am, you will sign a contract saying that you accept all karmic debt that is on that. So if you're going to cast that spell against somebody's will and the universe is going to be a backlash, it's not going to be on me for writing it for you. You accept responsibility for it. It's the way it works here. So that's that thing where whatever you do is you get back 3 times 3, right? So you need to be careful with that. You can do it if you want, right? Please follow us at Merlin&MAeve. Yes, please do that. That's my wife and I's company that we're building. I'll be going live on that TikTok page soon. So if you guys can go over there and follow us and like us, so we can get enough followers over there and enough likes over there so that I can go live on that platform. My wife and I will be going live on that platform and teaching you guys some of this stuff. And then getting you guys in the classes for Zoom and things like that so we can teach you more things. And bring you more content, right? But I'm still going to be doing it over here because my name, you guys will learn my name as time goes on because I'm going to continue teaching this to people around the world. That's why I came here, right? That's why I don't astral travel. Patty says, if you learn how to do it, you can do it, and it's okay to do astral travel. I astral travel all the time. I'm doing it all the time, but I've been doing it my entire life, and I've been trained to do it. But we teach you, if you want to learn it, you can learn it. People are out there to teach. It's like channeling. If you want to learn how to channel, it's there for you to learn, but you don't have to, right? So, yeah. So Everett said, tried to message y'all, but I only managed to say, hey, right? So, yeah, right. So you just have to, you just have to realize that it's a matter of choice. Some people just don't want to have abilities. You don't have to, right? But whatever abilities that you want to have, you can have any abilities that you want to have. You just have to do it, right? I'm I'm going to eat another cookie here and keep my blood sugar level up here. So I'm going to go ahead and chomp on that for a second while you guys are thinking. Right, there's another one there. You got to focus, right? You got to focus hemoglobin. Funny that you just said that, right? You got to focus hemoglobin. You do have to focus. You also have to remember that when you're transmuting energy, that it burns up your water and it burns up your sugars. I'm also a Reiki master teacher. So when you transmute energy through your body, you have to pull that energy through your body, and the liquid in your body is how you transmute it, and then the all of the what are you talking about? I don't understand. Oh, you're gonna have to refresh the screen to do that, maybe. she's trying to get the phone to spin from upright to and it won't spin. I said you're gonna have to refresh the screen. It got stuck, right? So hi, I took myself. I took my selfie in the kitchen, and in the photo was entrance to shop. I'm in a kitchen. Thoughts. Wait, I took a selfie in my kitchen, and in the photo was an entrance to shop in my kitchen. Thoughts. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to say there. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to say there. Are you asking about are you asking me to try and see what it is that you're trying to show me in your photo? Is that what you're trying to do? I'm not exactly sure what you were wanting me to do there. Was the karmic system set up only for the third density so certain life forces can farm us beings? No. Have you seen Mousetopia? No, but I heard that was supposed to be pretty good, right? Experiment from the 1970s. Experiment from the. No, I don't think I saw that. I don't think I saw that. But I'll have to take a look, right? Can you teach me how to write spells? Yes. Yes, a lot of people can. A lot of people can teach you. You have to be very focused. You have to intention. You have to have the proper intentions. You have to have the proper mindset for ritualistic things to protect yourself. So there's a lot that goes into that, including casting a circle to work in and knowledge of that. But we do teach that. Yes. I just joined. What are we talking about? I am actually channeling Archangel Samael, and I am answering questions for you about spirituality and about how the world works. And Leonard O'Neill, this man right here, wrote this book called The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways, which is also talking about spirituality and stuff that's going on. I'm in my photo of my kitchen, an entrance to a shop. Okay. Entrance to a shop appeared in the photo. Okay, so you have a photo. You're in a photo of your kitchen. An entrance to a shop appeared in your photo. It depends on what the shop is that it appeared in there. So and why it could have been double exposure on your film, but I would have to take a look at it to see exactly what was happening. I'm finding birds are my spirit guides at the moment. Is that right? It's very possible. You'll find that spirit guides move in and out of your life, and you, depending on where you live and whether you're a earth sign or an air sign or what you're working with or on at the time. Like I went through a time when I went by Storm Crow, and then I started going by Crow Eagle. Right, because and then I'm going to be, that's my native name because I am 5% Native American, even though I'm in Australia. I married my wife Brooke, who you guys have been seeing popping in and out, and she's Australian, so I moved over here. But since I'm here, I've been introduced to the huntsman spider, and many of them, like 4 now, have come into our house, into our presence. So I'm starting to realize that the replacement, because wolf was one of my spirit animals, and there's no wolves in this country, and there's no bald eagles here. There's eagles, but not bald eagles, and but there are crows over here, but there's no bald eagles. So the aspect of that spider, the huntsman spider, is the same aspect of the cunning of the wolf and the strategicness in the eyes of the bald eagle. So I started to realize that. right? I'm into eagles. I am Cancer. Yes, I have an eagle tattooed on my arm. I also have crows tattooed on me because I have Odin tattooed on my leg, and I have Hugin and Munin tattooed on my leg. And now over here I have an eagle, bald eagle, tattooed on me. So I'm very much into the flight and the flight masters as well. So if you're into the eagle, which one specifically? Because there are many different eagles. Are you bald eagle? Are you golden eagle? Are you the brown eagle? The red eagle? There's eagles over here in Australia. There's like 4 of them I didn't even know about. I was like, what? There's some beautiful eagles over here. So I'd love to find that out, right? And you're a Cancer, right? I'm Cancer. So you're the crab, right? So then that's the sea, that's water. And then you have the wind. I would look at my birth and see if you have a air sign in your birth, right? We have huntsman spiders too in the USA, but they're not like the ones over here, man. We do in America, and they're like this big. The ones over here, I'm not even kidding you, are softball size, dude. I'm not even kidding. That we have huntsmen in America, but those are like pygmies compared to the huntsman spiders in this country. Not even a joke. When I saw the first one, I was like, holy crap, what is that? It's like big like a tarantula over here, right? There are bald eagles around the world. Yes, but there are no bald eagles in this country. There are bald eagles in a lot of places around the world, but there are not any in Australia. There are many animals that are indigenous to Australia that are not anywhere else. There are eagles here. There are like 3, I think. Brooke could tell me if there are more. There's at least 3 species of eagles, but not the bald eagle that you see in the northern part of the world. What is going on here? Oh, right. Welcome. Welcome. What's going on here is that I am channeling. My name is Leonard O'Neill, and I am channeling the Archangel Samael. And Samael is answering any spiritual question that you have, and I'm answering any physical questions that you guys have. So you can ask questions. So ask away. So all the karma that you experience, good or bad, will be passed down through all forms of matter. See, that's people believe that you have like karmic debt that you owe to the world. That's just not true. It's just not true. You do things, but it's not true, but it is true, right? You are your own judge. So if you do things wrong, you will decide whether you have to do things to make that right. You don't end up with a karmic debt because you did something in a past life, right? If you murdered somebody in a past life, you don't have to be a priest in this life to make up for that, because there is no right and wrong. There just is experience, okay? But you take on karma in a lifetime, and the different things that you do will balance out, right? So if you do something wrong, what goes around comes around, that kind of stuff, that's in one life. It doesn't carry over to other lives. Are you in Australia? Because it's an important place. Yes, I am in Australia. I am in New South Wales, Australia, which is on the east coast of. I am in Paradise, which is on the east coast of Australia. I was not born here. I was born in the United States. I'm sure you can tell by my accent, but I am have moved to Australia, and I don't plan on moving out of here for a long time. I'm married to my Australian wife, and I am here in Australia. I love the place, by the way. How soon will we see Jesus? You can see Jesus anytime you want to. However, to answer your question a little more specifically, in the third dimension, the 2,000-year anniversary of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ is coming in the next 2.5 years, the next 3 years. No joke. You can look it up. You can look that up. Get the Smith's Bible Dictionary. That's the dictionary that's the most comprehensive Bible dictionary on the face of the earth that all Christian religions use and all theological colleges use. And I have a copy of it, but it's not here. I'd pull it out for you. I left it in America. And you can look in there, and it'll tell you that they know almost to the day when Jesus was born and when he died. And the 2,000-year anniversary of his death and resurrection should be in the year 2027. So Easter. No disrespect, but how do you know that you're channeling an archangel? Because I am a channel, because I am Archangel Samael, and my higher self is Archangel Samael. But you don't have to believe that. You probably won't, right? Anybody who channels someone You get introduced to them and you make contact with them, and then you allow them to speak through you. It's a process, but if you're, a devout, and remember, I am a Christian minister, by the way. So, and I was baptized Roman Catholic and knighted by the Roman Catholic Church, right? So I'm not coming from a standpoint of I'm an atheist or I'm a Satanist or I'm a devil or a demon. Because I'm not, right? But the church itself, the Roman Catholic Church, would probably try to have me excommunicated because they go, he's the devil. You can't talk to anybody. That's the demon and that's the devil. And you need to stop and you need to repent your ways, because they're trying to control you to keep you in 3D, bro. And they have been doing it for a long time. Can you say that again? Jesus is coming back? No, Jesus is not coming back. He never said, I'll come back to get you. Okay. That's a misnomer that everybody thinks that was in the Bible. Jesus never said, wait here, I'm coming back. He was teaching you to look within yourself to find the way to heaven. The way to heaven is through me, Jesus said. He was saying through him, through the way he was. Back then, 2,000 years ago, telling someone the way to heaven is through me means through my teachings, through what I'm showing you. Be like me, and you will get to heaven. So Jesus isn't returning. Jesus was trying to teach you. They've corrupted that since then. Jesus was teaching you the way. He even called it the way. Okay? He was teaching you the way to ascend to heaven. You're supposed to look within yourself, and you're supposed to live the way that Jesus was living. And by doing that, by his example, if you followed him, you would then be able to ascend to heaven. Okay? Jesus is not coming back in a Volkswagen Bug, waiting to come and pick us all up in a van. I feel Christ consciousness growing. That is happening. You are correct in that. And that's why I brought up the resurrection, the 2,000-year anniversary. The devil shall rule the earth for a time. That is in the Bible, and that suggests that there is a beginning, a middle, and an end to that 1,000-year time period that the devil was unleashed on the earth. That time is over, and that time will be solidified as over when the 2,000-year anniversary of Jesus' death and resurrection happens, and that's going to happen in 2027. I want to know, what is that? Rapture is true, or is it awakening? Rapture is awakening, my friend. The rapture is your awakening. When God said, I will come as a thief in the night, that didn't mean I'm coming back. That meant your awakening will happen when you least expect it. Okay? Your awakening, you don't know when your awakening is going to happen. It fucking hits you. And pardon my American, it hits you and you didn't even know it was happening. You're like, why can't I wake up? I'm trying to wake up and I'm learning everything and I'm reading everything and I can't wake up. What is the deal? I'm not even talking to my guides anymore. Nobody's talking to me, man. And then you give up and you go, okay, forget about it. Forget about it. I'm just going to sit here. And then one day you go, I'm all right. That's it. Show me a sign. And then you look around and you go, wait a minute. And you start seeing things. And then when you start seeing things, you go, oh crap, I've been awake for like a year and didn't notice it. That's coming as a thief in the night, my friend. That's the rapture. Have you heard of J. Arya Essex? No. Is that somebody that's teaching right now? Is that a guru that's teaching here on earth? Please answer that for me, because if it is, I will look this person up. I don't know who that is. What is the true meaning behind Mecca? Oh, we talked about that last week. We actually talked about that last week. Mecca is the essence of God and the building blocks of the universe, and the waypoint for this world is Mecca. They're not wrong. Okay, those people in that religion are not wrong. If you take the Vitruvian Man, the Vesica Pisces, the 5-pointed star inside the circle, the Star of David inside the circle, and if you take the world, the globe of Earth, and I was actually live on air with a man who proved this mathematically, and you put that and superimpose it over the Earth, okay, and you put, say, the 5-pointed star with the northern point at the North Pole, true north of the Earth, and you do the mathematical equation that circle is with the 5-pointed star or the Vitruvian Man or the Star of David in there. When you do that and you start from the North Pole and do that mathematical equation, 100% of the time it ends on Mecca. I am God on earth, Mecca. So when they say that God landed in that spot, I'm telling you, my friends, they proved it mathematically. So those people knew what they were talking about. how do you start learning how to do that? I know, right? Are you talking about that kind of information? I have literally spent this lifetime reading every single scripture, every single religion, and studying that throughout. I still do it. You can ask my wife; she's in the other room. When I'm bored and she's at work and I'm at home doing something, she'll call me and go, "What are you doing?" And I'll say, "I'm listening to scripture. I'm reading scripture." And she goes, "Of course you are," because that's what I do. When I'm bored, I read scripture. When I have nothing to do, I read scripture. Not a joke. So, demons hear everything. No, demons. I mean, well, demons can remote view, so they can come into your house and you won't know that they're in your presence because they'll be out of phase with you, right? And so if they're out of phase with you, you won't sense them unless you have the abilities to sense them, and then they can stand around and screw your life up. They do that. They're negative energies, so they'll sit around looking at you, and then they'll make you get mad and argue with your husband or your wife or whatever. They'll do that. They get attached to you. Jesus already. What you said? Not all demons are bad. My wife yelled from the other room. Jesus already here, and the whole time. Yet, no, well, Jesus is here because he left behind a legacy that all of us were supposed to be living. But it wasn't just Jesus. That information is within you. So I don't know if you guys know about the Christ oil within you. If you guys want to take a look at my book, The Reality About Reality: Returning to the Old Ways. You can look that up online. I talk about that Christ oil that Jesus was trying to teach you about, and so were all of the other ascended masters from around the world that had a knowledge of what goes on inside of you. The Christ consciousness is inside of you. You're supposed to learn that. The Catholic Church in Ireland has lost all respect. The Catholic Church around the world, my friend, I'm baptized Catholic and I have a Sir title. I was knighted by the Roman Catholic Church, and I tell you truly, you're absolutely right. The Catholic Church, that is the Church of Rome, the Irish Catholic Church, the American Catholic Church, those people have lost all respect. They are not teaching the way that Jesus was teaching when he was here 2,000 years ago. You're absolutely right, my friend. But the clergy in the churches at the street level, they're trying to help, but they have a weight from the top telling them what they're supposed to be teaching and what they can and can't teach. And they teach the book of Romans. They don't teach you anything about Jesus or about the way. I was just saying Revelations will happen in my lifetime. Revelations is happening right now. Revelations doesn't mean the end of the world. Revelations means illumination. And it's in my book, as a matter of fact, and I'm talking about it in the next book that I'm reading. If you read the letters to the churches in the Bible that John made sure to write when he was in Patmos on the island, the letters to the churches, if you take the churches and the letters, there are 7 churches, 7 letters to the churches. If you take that book and you take the chakras out and you look at the chakras from the red ray root chakra all the way up, the 7 chakras, and you look up what each chakra means and what it represents, and then you read how to balance that chakra, and then you read the letter to the first church, you will find that the letters to the churches in the Revelations is telling you that if you balance your chakra this way, you'll go to heaven. If you don't, and you're self-serving, you don't get to get into heaven. And you look and it'll tell you how to balance your chakras. I'm writing about that in my book currently. So can a different or order? Oh, that one disappeared, baby. I didn't see it in time to read it. Can you repost that one for me, please? Jesus, Yahshua, blood name, Druz. Okay, so wait. So a different order, deity move through you, but not Jesus. So can a different or older deity move through you, but not Jesus? It depends on who you're allowing. Are you talking about me, or are you talking about you, right? Or is Jesus a different category? Is that what you're trying to say? No, category. No, Jesus. You can allow the Christ energy is inside of you, because the Christ energy, the story of Christ and what Christ represented, is the oil that goes down in your body, that goes from your brain, from your Ingala and your Pingala. It's in my book here. It's also in the book called God Man, the Bible Made Flesh. It's an oil that happens in your body once a month that is actually the story of Santa Claus as well. that oil is in you, and all religions knew about this and they were teaching it. They only stopped teaching it because the powers that should not be took control of the things, and they changed things so that you wouldn't know that. And I'm here to teach you that this is the way that these people were trying to tell you. Even Lao Tzu in the Taoism was teaching the same thing. I now see religion has roadmaps to learn how to study from. Well, if you look at all religions, bro, and you read, and you, instead of comparing the religions, did Jesus already return? Jesus, the physical person that is Jesus, is not going to return to come and get you. Jesus was teaching you that the Christ is within you, and you're supposed to unlock that within yourself, and that's the way you get out of here. You don't. He didn't teach you to wait for him to come back. He's not planning on doing that. What do you think about the Book of Enoch? The Book of Enoch is the Book of Noah. It's another parable, and it's about the flood, and that's about the destruction of the human condition, and then the resurrection. Again, that's the same story. The Book of Enoch is the same story of the Christ falling to earth, or Tiamat, the dragon, and Marduk having to come down and sacrifice to be able to destroy him, or Thor coming down into earth and having to sacrifice to rise back up. The Book of Enoch is telling of a time when God was talking about the destruction of the earth and the resurrection of the earth. It's just another parable on the same story that's about the Christ oil that's within you. My book, Delete the Timeline Shift, right? So yeah, is there a book out that's called Delete the Timeline Shift? I don't know about that. If so, I love that you have that book. So is Mecca, like, can you show us a direction, north, south, east, west? I'm confused about all of that space. Mecca is in the east. You can actually look it up on a map and find out where Mecca is. You can Google map Mecca and find out where it is. Mecca is an actual place that people go, and there's a space rock that's there, that's a particle from outer space that is the building blocks to the entire universe. And that's where God landed, where God created the world, from that place. You can see that. I'm so sad about the Catholic Church. I am too. I have been knighted by that Roman Catholic Church, but you have to realize that they're going through the containment and the control of those people that I call the controllers in my book. That they're just fixing things. I'm lost due to the timeline shift. Well, I mean, we all are. We're fixing that timeline shift now. We're shifting things back, but most people are lost due to the timeline shifts. We're fixing them and rewriting that. I have an occasional, what is that, benevolent spirit. How do I find out who it is? Ask them. Ask them. Ask them who they are and what they've come to help you with. Who are you? Why are you talking to me? Ask them. They'll tell you. If they're somebody that's nice and they're not evil, they'll just start talking to you. Jesus, Yahweh, blood name. Oh yeah, you had that up before. That was the one that disappeared. So Drew's Kaluni. It depends on language. That's a language thing. They're all the same. Jesus, the character that was Jesus, reoccurred on this planet at least 16 times. My wife and I were researching it. There's people out there that have researched it to at least 16. We're thinking as many as 28 times. So if you look for that, because those people were trying to tell you about the Christ oil within you. So the common theme is they were all trying to show you the Christ oil within you. So the name was changed, but the actions were the same throughout all of time. So yes, to answer your question. So are you Catholic? Yes, I was baptized Catholic, referring to many differences. Yes, I was baptized Catholic. No disrespect, right? No, I'm also a Christian minister. I was baptized Roman Catholic and knighted by the Roman Catholic Holy See. But I also have a ministry through the Universal Life Church in Phoenix, Arizona, as a Christian minister. So I'm a minister in the Roman Catholic Church, but I could only be a father and have that priestly title if I went to their seminary. If I did that, I would have to swear off sex. I like sex too much. My wife's hot. I don't know if you've seen her. I like sex too much, so I'm not going to give up sex just to get a name that says father when I can get the same title and just call myself padre or minister. Right? P.S. Tell me about heaven and hell. Heaven and hell are within you. There is no physical place called heaven and no physical place called hell. However, there is a physical place where the creator of the universe does exist and you can go there. But heaven and hell is within you. So your focus determines your reality. If you're living in the flesh, in the bottom three chakras of your beingness as this humanoid, as this human, then you're living in this physical place. Even this physical place can be heaven or it will be hell depending on your focus. So if you only focus on negativity, you're going to say this place is shit, it's hell, and we're all going to die and the governments are taking over and all bad stuff's happening. Or you're looking at that and going, yeah, no, and this place is beautiful and the food is great and all of that. So heaven and hell is a state of mind, my friend. What do you think about the Book of Enoch? You asked that, or is this somebody different? That was a question that just popped up before. The Book of Enoch is a parable, and it's the same story of the death and resurrection of the human condition. It's the same story of like Jesus dying and being resurrected, just told a different way, right? You have that, and Enoch is the same as Noah, is the same as a few other people throughout history. It's a parable. You should, if you don't understand how that works, you guys should look up Joseph Campbell. He wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, where it's about this thick, but he talks about how in mythology and reality, he was very awake, and he talked about how, and he referred to Carl Jung a lot, and he taught at a college in America. He referred to Jung and the Dark Night of the Soul and that hero quest that we all go on, and Enoch is another version of that. 33 back vibrations. 33 back vibrations. Vertebrae. Yes. Yes, that's the Christ oil. You're onto it, Zorla. You're onto it. The Christ oil. Jesus was 33 years of age. That's the vertebrae in your spine. 33 vertebrae. That's also the runs of the Jacob's Ladder. There was 33 runs of Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder was the story of the ascension, of the death and the resurrection. The sword and the stone is your spine going into the vertebrae at the bottom of your spine, which is the fused vertebrae, which in the ancient times was called Bethlehem, by the way. So yes, that's written about in my book right here on the screen, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. I talk about that very thing. Archangel meaning fallen angel. Not all, the word archangel doesn't refer to fallen angels, but all fallen angels are archangels, whether you are aware of that or not. Samael, who, if you're a Hebrew or a Christian, you probably don't even know that name, but unless you're an Eastern Orthodox or a Ethiopian Orthodox Christian, then you know the name Samael. So if you're more for the Middle East and the religions of the Middle East, you know the word Samael, not just as the fallen angel, but as an archangel. So it depends on which religion that you have learned, because in the Hebrew religion, there's only 7 archangels, and currently on this earth, they know of about 24 archangels. You were signifying how people aren't necessarily bringing the Jesus that they think is being channeled. So wait a minute. So you were signifying how people aren't necessarily bringing the Jesus that they think that they're being channeled. Is that what you're saying? So Jesus will channel through people, right? Oh, that is something for debate when it comes to. Sorry, I'm answering the second question of Zorla. There is a Jesus bloodline, but that bloodline hasn't been identified to people. But people are trying to speculate where it is. If I can't tell you what it is, not because I don't know, but because if I speak it and it gets to the wrong people will hunt down that bloodline and try to kill them, because they have to. Because if it's true, like Dan Brown's book said in that a fiction, if Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene and if they had children, then the church, to keep their power, would have to eradicate that. So I would not answer that question openly if it were or were not. The answer to that, I will not say. I mean, all religions, I take out what I need, if you get me. Yeah, no, you should, brother, you should. And that's what my book is about. My book is about that, teaching you that you're supposed to. It's because if you know, the reality about reality, returning to the old ways, you're supposed to look between the lines and realize that what they were all teaching you is that Christ oil. Angel language, you know, that's like light language. There are many languages that are out there, and my wife talks about that a lot because she'll realize that there are words that we use when we're not down here, and then she's like, "There's no word for that down here." Right? So yeah, right. So you have to realize that, right? Allotting. I think you're probably answering something that I'm not aware of, huh? Allotting. Brooke, are you knowing what that is about right there? Pillar of creation. Yeah, pillar. Okay, yes, pillar of creation. So yeah, pillar of creation. So going back to like Mecca and the pillar, but yes, pillar of creation. The seven sisters. Do you know about that? Right. There's that place where people believe here on Earth that is where the everything was created from. It's in the Orion Nebula, the pillars, right? The seven sisters. It talks about the angels coming to Earth to mate with humans, different than the Book of Noah. Yeah, no, that's like, again, that's what the ancient aliens people are using to say that third dimensional beings came down here and, you know, in a bus and created the human species. That's not what that is actually about. You know, that's the stories are always that the gods came down and bred. Heracles was half god, half man. That gods come down here to breed with humans and make demigods and half gods. That's just the stories to show you the differences in the levels of what's going on from God down to here, right? So people they have taken those stories from the fables and said that, you know, like Rig or Frigg, is that his name? Frigg in or Rig in Viking language. I can't think of his name, but he was the aspect of Thor's brother, Heimdall. In the movie, Heimdall was an African man, but in reality, Heimdall was Thor's older brother. And Heimdall would come down and have sex with women, right? So if there was a story like that and I was a Viking, I would say I was him so I could have sex with people if I was self-serving. So there's a lot of that, but most of those things again were stories to expand your consciousness, to show you the God coming down into flesh and the ascension. So you were supposed to, it's like a different story for a different time. Most of those stories are ancient stories that have come from the time of the religions that are no longer on this earth because the people died off about 77,000 years ago. But some of those stories are still handed down, where gods came down and bred with people. That was a story that those people told about the way that the God seed and the God particle were in people for your ascension. So that comes from one of the cycles before this one, and you guys are unaware of that. But it's okay that you guys hear that stuff. So the Book of Enoch, those of you who know about that, is one of the oldest books, because the Book of the Enoch is from a culture that died 77,000 years ago, and that storyline still exists. It's like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth as well. That's not exactly what Jesus said about himself in the epistles of Jesus. What Jesus said about himself was, "I am the way." He said that the way to heaven is through me. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but that's what Jesus was teaching, that you're supposed to look within yourself to find the way to heaven, not without. Jesus was also teaching that women were equal to men, but that changed the second that he died, right? So I'm not sure what your reference is, bro. Let me know what your reference is exactly, right? Do you think Jesus has reincarnated, say you 2027? No, Jesus is not going to be reborn. Jesus never said he was returning to earth. And I always tell people, show me the passage that Jesus said, "I will return to you and I'm going to come back and wait for me." He didn't say that. He was talking about the death and the resurrection, where he was going to come back after he died to resurrect, to show you the way to heaven. And then he left, and he was waiting for everybody to come up to heaven. There's nowhere in the Bible that Jesus says, "Wait here, I'm going to get a car and I'll come back." That just doesn't happen. The bottom three chakras are most physical. They are physical. Bottom three chakras are the physical plane. They are this third dimensional world. That's the 3 energy and the 3, 6, and 9. The 3 energy of nature, all that it is nature. The 6 energy is your heart, love chakra, 0 point. The 9 energy is the spiritual. The upper 3 chakras are the 9 energy, the spiritual plane. So you have the physical plane and the God plane, nature and heaven, below and above. As below, so above. As within, so without. Do you see? What about the angels cutting down huge trees to cut the oxygen for the giants before the flood? That's all parables, bro. That's parables for something that happened, a calamity that was here, and with the giants that cut down the trees they were meteors that struck the earth, and they were knocking down forests and knocking down trees and causing fires. These are people writing stories about something they didn't understand. If you look at the destroyer Shiva, the destroyer of world, at the same time, and in that culture that Shiva was the destroyer of worlds, you had the Viking god Sut, who was the destroyer of worlds. And then if you look at the Colburn Bible in Scotland, the Colburn Bible, the first 7 books or the first 6 books of the Colburn Bible were scrolls that came out of Egypt with the Exodus of Moses, and those were ancient scrolls. And the Scottish monks got a hold of that and held on to them. And when you look at where they came from, people will say, well, there is no proof, but they claim that they got them from Egypt. Well, the Egyptians say that was a telling of a destruction of the earth that happened before this time. And all three of those, and there's more around the world, we're talking about a destruction of the earth, and there was a destroyer, and if you read it, you'll see that it was a meteor or an asteroid that came too close to the earth. And as it flew by the earth, it tore through the earth's magnetic field and disrupted everything, and parts of it, pieces of it, smashed into the earth, and that caused the earth to flip over on its axis, and it caused a big cataclysm. Not that all angels were archangels that fell. No, not all angels were archangels that fell. Only the archangels are the angels that fell. But not all angels were archangels, because there's a archangels, the ones who are the duality of light and darkness, and then the angels below that are the ones that are the caregivers that are working to help balance things, right? Who are you right now? Are you saying all religions originate from Christianity? Oh God, no. Christianity came way late. No, all religions are the same, my friend. They didn't come out of Christianity. Christianity came out of the Hebrew religion. And those were prophecies from the Hebrew religion. But no. All the religions of this earth, I'm not trying to sell a religion to you, my friend. I'm trying to sell spirituality. In this book right here, one of the first things that you'll learn in there is that I say religion recruits you, spirituality waits for you to find it. I'm trying to teach you to get back to what all of these ascended masters from all of these religions were teaching you. And that's the way to get out of here. I'm not trying to sell a religion. Religion is control. Religion is trying to control you. All of them are trying to control you. No, not at all, my friend. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to expand your consciousness and teach you that the way to heaven is within you, and every single ascended master that has a religion has became from their way. The way they were trying to teach you, all of them was the same way. Jesus was related to Abraham Lincoln. No, he was not related to, well, he could have been. Maybe Abraham Lincoln was related to him, but Jesus was the great, I don't know how many greats, like 10 generations grandson of David. So there was that. Do you agree that the Oracle of Delphi was a seer, or it depends on how you look at it, right? Or alternative theory. It depends on how you look at it. Some people say that the Oracle at Delphi was schizophrenic. Other people say that the Oracle of Delphi, where she sat, she was breathing in gases that were like, screwing with her mind, and they were psychedelic, and so she was talking craziness. So it depends on what you believe. But the Oracle at Delphi apparently was able to predict some things when people would ask questions, and so the oracles got things right more than they got things wrong. So something was going on there, right? So I believe that a divine source made the Aton, and Anunnaki made the atom. No, Anunnaki doesn't even exist the way you think it does, bro. You need to look at that. So made the atom. The Anunnaki doesn't exist the way you think it does. The Anunnaki, the word that you're thinking is meaning a species of people, is a mistranslation. You can look that up. It's a mistranslation. The word Anunnaki was Anunna, next word ki, not. It's translated through Zechariah Sitchin in 1948 when he saw the word Anu and thought that the Mesopotamians were talking about the Greek god, the god of the people who lived next door to the Mesopotamians, and they were Greeks, and they had a god named Anu, and so he thought Anu comes. Ki means comes. He thought he didn't even translate the word Na. The word Anunna meant not a god; it meant a high priestess or a high priest. You can look that up. I'm not making that up. I'm not being mean about that. That's actually just a wrongful translation that Giorgio Tsoukalos, who I'm friends with, in 2012 said the god Anu came down, so it was an alien who came down to Earth. And then later in 2015, he said those from the heavens. He just called them a species, Anunnaki, and now everybody calls them the Anunnaki, and that they came here, and that now they're saying the Anunnaki created everybody, and now they're saying the Anunnaki created all religions. So it doesn't even exist that way that you think that it does. It's a wrongful translation. What is the deal with the how do you say that word? What is that word? I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. So yeah, I would have to see what that word means. I believe Jesus made a promise to return. No, find that in the Bible for me, and when you do, tell me where it is. Jesus didn't. He said he was going to return when he died and was resurrected. He returned then, and then he was leaving. He was teaching you how to find the Christ oil within you so that you could leave. He never said, "Wait here, I'll come back." Right? What's your in the sun particles? That's if you're in the sun particles. The sun is the light bringer for here. So most of the religions talking about the sun and the light. You have to realize that the light was fire until we have incandescence. Okay, and now we understand that the sun is not even on fire. It's actually just transmuting from one energy to another, and it's glowing because its frequency is vibrating. So I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Specify that, and I'll try to answer that for you. Is Cloud 9 about unlocking the divine chakras? Yes. Yes, it's anything that is illumination and about illuminating, like the sun and the sun particles, which was part of what we was talking about there, is about the illumination. Anything is about that is all about illumination. It's about waking up and illuminating your mind. Is stealing morally wrong? Yes. Does it have karmic retributions? Yes. In each life that you're in, it does. If you do something, it's wrong, and then you have you can be caught. There's consequences for it. So there are retributions for it. So if I steal something and somebody catches me, if they want to press charges against me, I can end up being brought up in charges. Do you see? Where can I get your book, my friend? Anywhere online, brother. You can Google it and you can look it up online. It's on sale. You're in Ireland, so I think you can get it from Amazon over there. Yeah, you can also if you don't want to have the shipping to have it sent to you, you can get it on ebook as well. But yeah, the reality about reality, returning to the old ways, my friend. Isn't Jesus the demiurge? Let me see the rest of this before I answer that. Isn't just the physical form showing us the way to get back to our higher self? Yes. Yeah. The demiurge is just a Gnostic way of describing what they used to call the ether, right? The demiurge. Some people say is evil, but everything serves the all. There is no good and evil. Good and evil only exist in your mind down here in third dimension. So some people say that in the ancient tomes, they say the demiurge was evil, but the demiurge wasn't evil. If you look, it was the duality again. It was still the same. It was showing you light and darkness. The demiurge wasn't a demon. But some people want to believe that, right? And so they base religions on it. But it's all about the cycle of life and returning. Yes, you're right about that. Was Nostradamus, what was Nostradamus, what was happening with him and his predictions? Nostradamus was seeing the future. Seeing the future is the future is never written 100% in stone because it's emotions. So when a medium looks into the future, you see the probable future. And so if you look at the Nostradamus, what Ron Nostradamus wrote, the first thing Nostradamus said was, this is what I see. This is a warning. None of this has to happen in the future. If you change the ways of things they're going now, none of this has to happen. But if we don't change our ways, from my perspective of where I am now, this is the things that's going to happen in the future. So Nostradamus didn't want those things to happen. So if they don't come to pass, Nostradamus is happy with that, right? Because Nostradamus didn't want it to happen. I've read the actual translation of Nostradamus's predictions that you guys can't get because they don't let you have on this planet. I read them when I was 16 years old, and you can't find them on this earth. That they will not let you have them. And it's about the Third World War, and it's also about the bad guys that think they own this place losing that Third World War. Is your name Gary? My name is not Gary. That's funny that you say that. No, my name is Leonard. I don't know where Gary. Are you asking? Am I Gary? That's funny. Is your name Gary? My name is not Gary. My name is Leonard. This physical body's name is Leonard. My higher self is also not Gary, but I may have been a Gary in a different life. Wait, the sun isn't on fire? No, it's not. The sun, there's heat coming off of it, radiating off of it. You can look this up. The molecules are transmuting from one state to another state, and they're sped up because of the friction. They're sped up and they're glowing the same way that a light bulb, when you turn it on, is the vibration is moving, and it's moving so much that the friction is causing it to glow. And so that glow that's coming off of it is friction, it's heat. So we're seeing a light that is not fire. It's a glowing of one molecule transmuting into another molecule. And as it's doing that, it's giving off a radiation, and the radiation is hot. And that radiation causes a glow, and we perceive that as light. Yeah, it's not actually on fire at all. You can look it up. It's crazy. I believe our DNA was manipulated by reptilians in a lab called Eden. No, that's just not true. Didn't happen. That's a story that people want you to believe, though, because then they can say that you have overlords and that you're a prisoner and that there's someone who's in charge. And that's a third dimensional construct. It's not true. Didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. They took the story of Adam and Eve and they changed that story so that they could tell women to shut up and control men. And then people took the story the way it's written now, which is all corrupted and wrong. And they say that it was aliens, and they're just making that up. It's not true. Is there no right and wrong? How come stealing is wrong? Truly, there is no right and wrong. You can do whatever you want, but because people are living in a society where they've decided that we need to have some order, there's 86% of the population are in service to others. So those 86% of the population have decided that we don't want to just allow people to do bad things. So because of that, we have all decided that stealing is wrong, rape is wrong, murder is wrong, bearing false witness is wrong, and those things that we have written down for centuries, we don't do these things because they're bad, right? Because it would be wrong to do to somebody, because we're trying to discourage people from being self-serving. So truly, there is no right and wrong. When you go past things, you're not going to be judged for doing something. But if you're alive and you get caught doing it, you're going to be judged by your peers, right? The sun is a projection. Well, it's not like you're thinking in third dimensional terms that aliens are putting the sun up there to show it to us because it's not real. That's not what's happening. But it is a projection in some sense. But the universe is holographic in many different ways. You should read Michael Talbot's book. It's called The Holographic Universe. You'll get a lot of that crazy knowledge in there. And I've studied that. I own it. It's in California, though. Didn't divinity, though the taught by Enki, what? Didn't divinity, and I think you're talking about divine thought, taught by Enki. Well, see, that it depends on the religion that you're looking at. Again, the name of the deity changes depending on the location and the people. The people that are there that you're trying to teach. Like if you look at Thor, instead of the Jesus character, Jesus happened with Hebrews and over in Jerusalem. And Thor is the exact same story, but it happened in Norway or in the north for the Nordic people. And they had a different culture, so it had a different name, but it's the same story and teaching the same thing. So Enki, Enlil, that's a story in Marduk and Tiamat. It's the same story. It's the same story, and those chroniclers were there. You had John the Baptist character is there, the same, who was saying that he's the chosen one, all of that. So So it's semantical things, where the names were semantical, and then the Godhead, the way it's put up, because like in that religion, or in that pantheon there, you had a god, a goddess, and sons, three sons, right? And the god was mad because the three sons wouldn't be quiet, and he said he was going to have to kill his sons. So his wife said, I better warn the kids. She went and said, your dad's going to kill you. You better stop. You guys are partying and he can't sleep. So they said, we better kill dad. And they killed dad. And then she flipped out and got mad and killed them. And then the people said she was evil. And then they were trying to get somebody to kill her because she had lost her mind and went cuckoo cuckoo because her sons killed her husband, and then she had to kill her sons. So everybody around her, she was out of her mind, lost herself, and turned to darkness. Maybe the story escapes us in the modern day, but it's still the same story, because then you have Marduk, who was of that god line, but he was on earth as a mortal, and then he had to rise up and destroy Tiamat the dragon, like Thor had to fight the dragon of the North Sea, and Jesus had to fight the serpent in the garden, and he kills her, and then he's elevated to God status. So Enki, Enlil, and you're thinking that Enki came here to create the humans, but that's not what happened. So in my view, I steal from people who I know steal from us. Is that right? Is that bad, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that so bad? If you steal from two rights, right? Two wrongs don't make a right, right? No matter how you look at it. If you steal from somebody who stole something, you're still stealing. That's the part where Jesus said, let's go back to Christianity, where Jesus said, turn the other cheek. He meant don't do those things and become who they are. So if somebody steals from you and then you steal from them, you are them. You're just like them. You're doing the same thing. So you have become what you hate. That person's wrong, so I'm going to wrong them. You're becoming them. You're doing exactly to them what they're doing to everybody else. Projection was about how you respond to the sun. It's not being on fire. Projection is about how you respond to the sun. Is that what you're saying? Projection was about when you were saying that. I understand what you're saying. But truly, the sun is a projection in some ways. So I went physics, and you were talking spirituality. I love that, though, right? Like a physical perceived light. Yes. So you were talking. Yeah. No. You're right, though. You're absolutely right. And the sun was a projection of the life bringer. And yes. No, you were right. You were going spiritual. I was going physical. That's funny. What shows in books that you watched or read as a kid that you redirected your eyes to the way? Actually, all of them, my friend. My father, when I was young, when I said to my father, "Are we Christian?" Because there was a Church of Nazarene. A Church of Nazareth right across the street from us. And I said, are we Christian? And he said, I was Catholic and your mom's family is Catholic, but we don't go to church. But why do you ask? And I said, well, because there's a church across the street. And I went over there and I was learning about that. And I was wondering, because they asked me if I was Christian. I said, I didn't know really, So my father said, well, you need to decide what you should be, but don't just follow somebody because we do, right? Do I believe the Bible? Yes, I do, Billy, I do believe the Bible. I own one. I'm a minister, Billy. I have a minister title in 4 different religions, 2 Christian. So my father said, and I'm telling the story right now, bro, of that. My father said, don't just follow because we did that. You should go and learn about all these different religions. Read about them, go there, talk to the clergy, learn how they worship and learn about it. Go to their churches, learn that stuff. I said, that's a good idea. I need to do that. I have spent my life from that day when I was about 8 years old until today doing exactly that and learning everything I can learn about spirituality. And as a theologian, what I have found, to answer your question, is that the meat of the information of all religion is all based in one thing that they all have in common, and that is the way to ascend to heaven. And then there's semantical things of how you worship that God or how you get there. But the thing that they're all teaching in their base root is, this is how you get to heaven. And so I wrote a book about it, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways, because people are missing that point and they're fighting over the name, like the Christians and the Muslims have been fighting for 1,000 years over there is only one God and Muhammad is his prophet or Jesus is his prophet and we have to kill each other. Their religion is based on the Hebrew religion. It's based on the book of Moses. They're both talking about the same God. They're killing each other over the person who's delivering God's message. I'm doing the same thing. So I'm delivering the same message. So would they kill me? Some would on both sides. Some would kill me because they're actually zealots. And they would say that I'm not somebody that should be alive because I'm a false prophet.
You wouldn't let me pin again. Are you a flat earther?
Oh, no, I am not. Oh, I didn't see that one. Am I a flat earther? Lord, no, I'm not. In fact, I was talking earlier to somebody who was a flat earther and telling them I'm really sorry that you think that the earth is flat. No, the earth is round. It's a globe. In fact, it's a torus, right? The hollow earth theory that some people are talking about is actual, unfortunately. What's that? Brooke? I couldn't hear what you said. Oh, okay. I'm getting the wrap from my wife, guys. I'm gonna have to go. I've been on here. How long have I been on here? 3.5 hours. Yeah. What's that? Would you say another question? Okay. Do you believe that there was two different sets of people? There were more than two sets of people. If you're talking about humans on the earth, there were 7 different species of humans on this planet at one time. The last two were the Neanderthal and the Homo sapiens sapiens. But if you look at the Aborigines in Australia, they're Denisovans, so they're an actual different offshoot. Then they're not African, so they're a different offshoot. So there is currently like 4 different DNA strands from 4 different people. There's still the Denisovans are still here, the Homo sapiens sapiens are still here, and there's still DNA from the Neanderthals that are still in the genome running around on Earth. So at least 3 of them. I believe there's a 4th too, because if you look at the Pacific Islanders, you see that, right? What is that, archons, or is you trying to say archons? What about the archants or the demons that rule this world? What about them? The earth was, because the earth fell and you're stuck here, that was the darkness ruling here. So the devil ruling the earth for a certain time is what's been happening here. And now order is being restored, right? In the Bible, in Genesis, which I don't believe in the Bible, right? Which I don't believe in the Bible, but it speaks with him making 2 sets. Well, see, that's the thing. If you look at, it depends on which religion that you believe in, right? Because if you look at the creation story of the different people around the world, like the Japanese have a different creation story, but it's still a giant that was killed, and then everything was made from this giant. And the people in the north have a frost giant that was killed, and then Tiamat, the giant that was killed. And so it depends on what religion that you write, but it's the duality that they were talking about when they were talking about the differences between people, and them creating 2, is the duality of the masculine and the feminine, duality of the ego and the conscience. Those who were in service to self and those who were in service to others is what they were talking about. And that was distorted throughout time to control people, to keep you away from the knowledge that's what they were talking about. That's what I talk about in my book, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways, because that's what's in all the religions and around the world is talking about that dichotomy between what's going on on the earth and what you're doing here and what you're supposed to know, that everybody knew at a certain time, and then at a certain time in history, that information was taken away from you, and that's what's caused the problem here. This is not what he spoke of. He said, let me make them in our image. See that when you think about that, though, now that's God the creator being androgynous, not saying let me make them in the image of 2 of us, but in our image. Okay, so they were making humans in the image of God. So they say man was created in the image of God, but man is man and woman, masculine and feminine. That's what that's all about, my friend. The second set, he said, let me make man out of dirt. Yeah, right. That's where everybody says that in the different creations where man was created out of dirt, and they say the same thing. And the Romans and the Zeus said the same thing, that they created the humans out of dirt. It's just part of the creation story because they didn't understand what was happening. They were made from the earth, my friend, and that's where you get the word dirt. It's a mistranslation. It's like in the Bible where they say the number of the beast 666. That's the devil's number. That's not. 666 is you say you have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons that make up this reality. So they created man not from dirt, from earth, from this plane of existence. Okay, that's what that was referring to. If you look at the translation, it's translated wrong for the 666 thing, right? So they said, let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. That's was changed by King James in the 1500s. It was, before that, it said, for it was a number, not the number, not a human number. Today it says a human number. It was the number of man. Not a number of man. It is the number of man. They changed the translation over the last 3,000 years to say it is a human number. It is the number of man. It is the number is 666 because you're made of 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. This entire place is. So when they said, I will create man of dirt, they were saying not of mud, not of dirt, of the earth. Of the earth. Okay? In the earth, of the earth is what that actually meant. You can ask any religious scholar, they'll tell you that. Please follow us, right? Please follow us from our lives, Merlin&MAeve. Go to Merlin&MAeve. That's 666, the Metatron cycle, the Phoenix rising, right? So the 666, my friend, who is it that said that? Is that Zorla again, right? Zoria, yeah, or Zorla? Yes, that is so 666 is that. It was, the bad hijack, right? Yeah, so they took that knowledge away from you so that you wouldn't understand that. But Carl Sagan talked about it in the 1970s, that we're made of stardust. So if you literally look up what is this reality made out of: 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. If you look on my page, my TikTok page, and you go back far enough, I actually have one of my reels that I made that you'll see that'll say 666 on it. It'll be there, and have words on there. Press play on that and start watching it, and it tells you about that, where the 666 and what that means. I made reels about all of this. Everything that I talk about are all over every platform that I'm on in my reels, right? So I got to go, guys. I love you guys. I've been on here for now 3 hours and 35 minutes. Yesterday I was on here for 4.5 hours. I will be back. You guys can follow me here on TikTok. I go live on Facebook and YouTube for my podcast, Orion Rising, on Friday night, 3 p.m. West Coast America time, on Friday. And if you're in Australia, it'll be Saturday morning. I go live there and I talk about and teach you guys about spirituality. And then I come back here on TikTok and I do the same thing. So if you're only on TikTok, just follow me, hit those likes, go to my page, follow me, and get the notifications so that you know when I go live. And I will come on here and do like I'm doing. I'll answer any of your questions. Follow us on Merlin&MAeve. Do the same thing, because we're going to try and start going live on Merlin&MAeve as well to teach you guys this stuff with my wife and I. That's our business, and we're actually going to be teaching courses to teach people how to open up and remember what it is that has been taken from you, and that's the knowledge that you're supposed to be looking within yourself. All of the gurus from every religion on this earth, every way of ascension, they're all telling you the same thing, and then it's been corrupted by people who are trying to keep control of you and make money off of you and not teach you anything. So you guys have a great night. I love you guys. Thank you for being so kind to be in here and hang out with us and ask questions. I hope I've answered them. If I haven't, contact us on Merlin&MAeve or watch when I go live next time, and then come back in and ask these questions. I'm here to teach you. My wife and I are here to teach you, to help you to unlock this information and remember it. It's right here. It's been here the whole time. It's just they're not letting you see it because they get you going swipe, 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 right? They get you distracted with these distortions, okay? And you just have to focus and read the different religions. They're all telling you the same thing. The semantical laws that humans have created are different. And those ways fit for different people in different times of their existence in different places for different cultures. But if you look at the meat of all of that, it's the same. It's how you get off this rock, how you go home, how you get back to God. It's all there, man. I love you guys. Have a great night. I will see you guys next time I'm live. Make sure, like I said, smash those hearts. Make sure you follow me, okay? Follow my wife too, right? Go to Merlin&MAeve. Follow us over there, please, and we'll be able to go live there and bring you more content. All right, guys, I'm going to take off. Let me remember how to close this thing out over here because I do this every time, and because I'm not used to this platform yet. I use StreamYard to go live everywhere else, so I have to see where it is. Yeah, I click on here. All right, guys, have a great. I love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great day.